Evening, everybody. Welcome. Sorry about the little hiccups at the delay. Welcome. I'm Randy,
And I'm Danhai.
and this is this week's Brick Talk. And as usual, we start Brick Talk by giving a little preamble, which, in a lot of words, say that I am not a licensed investment advisor. Dana is a licensed investment advisor. But while we are talking on this program, no matter what we say, no matter who comes on to um, how it might think like we're saying something, giving any financial advice at all. Only Dana is licensed. He's not doing that on this show. Just two guys who really like to talk about the market, understand business, and like to have a conversation with anybody else who wants to talk about the stock market or business in Jamaica or anywhere else, investing in general. This is what the conversation is for, but we're not dispensing any financial advice. You tell any security based upon in this program, you should with the advice of a licensed investment advisor in an actual advisory session. And if you want to advise you to go to Danhai in his capacity as an actual advisor, set at the Hall advisor. I don't think that is anything I said on this show this evening or any evening matter is financial advice. We are dispensing financial advice.
Danhai, tell me what to do. Nope.
Yeah, please, definitely not. All right, so that's welcome. I hope you guys can see well. If there's any sound issues, feel free to let me know. Shoot me a speaking request on Twitter. Welcome to the people who are watching on stream. Those who are watching us in the private stream, and as you watch back. Yeah, well,
they get to do. I don't know how much to tie into the stuff, but they get to do whatever they want a little bit too much. Like even if you look at, and I know the other day they had our furor with the residents, some student residents. If you look at the contracts, the leases that have the students sign now versus something that started that they had out when they first got built, they get to do whatever they want without any real oversight. They get to, and it to me that would reflect in the APO. Like when they
what do you mean? What have they done?
Basically, it's just a series of them holding the handle and whoever else holding the blade type situations over and over, which is similar to what.
Well, I've seen the blade pointed at them in thing there, like how the UE itself has been a problem for them. Where and even renegotiated in what seemed like an unfavorable situation to them.
Oh well,
where you couldn't pay them money that was owed for however long.
That they signed a contract to.
And then the re-sign was, boy, okay, you will get a little more power in this situation in some ways. And
well, I can see that, but for me, I like we don't have to agree on it. But for like overall, the basic
it's there.
I'm saying
multi-billion-dollar housing development is a lot of leverage, you know. I mean, it's kind of hard to go back on a contract that you've made on the basis of a company that has spent billions of dollars to build this place.
And they tell them, so me not pay them. I mean, I understand why you couldn't pay them, but then them get them for us eat dirt, right? You these are them problems. Well, we all know between government and you how hard it is to get a bill get a bill paid, right? Yeah. Between any of those two. So that has been an issue. Where you say, boy, government not paying us, and then 138 say, boy, you will not pay we.
Yeah, but
you never felt like they knew that going into that situation.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. But then we say, but then wouldn't you go on the same side in your argument then if we do that?
Well,
and I figure you're talking about in the sense of their tenants. Their tenants hold the short end in the contract. You're saying, right?
Not only that, it overall a lot of things that just how they're run, it doesn't seem they don't do things that would make me want to exercise good faith with them. So I'm overall not surprised about the APO situation. Other than that, I just wanted to say hi and come off
I don't think
because I haven't been around
good to hear
in a
from you.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I can see that. If they have so much problems that you invest in them, and but I mean, imagine invest in a company and you say, boy, we can't get paid for 2 years. That is a big problem. So
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from with that one.
That would be a hell of a problem. Are you hearing me, Danhai?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I wanted to say, let's not maybe Duffy's point too hard. I don't know if I understood it.
I know. I think I'm
Because you're
trying to
saying
understand.
that 138 really did hold a hand and does hold a hand in many a case. It would appear that way to me from the outside anyway, because of that same agreement that they have with UA. They had I think a revenue guarantee. Still have, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah,
90%
I mean
occupancy.
that's an example of where COVID was hitting. There weren't actually any students in the place, but
In the place.
there's that guarantee that if their occupancy falls below a certain level, UA has to make it up.
But would you say that's a bad thing for a company owner? No?
It's not
That's what I was
necessarily
trying to
bad.
understand. So I was asking if she meant in the case of the tenants, because in my mind, I can't see. I think a revenue guarantee sounds like a good thing. You get me?
Well, I think
Yeah.
well, my assumption was that you're coming from the perspective of UA or the students, Duffy. I'm not sure.
That's what I felt.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's just the power of it. They have the power. They're one of the, well, I don't know how common it is, but they're in a really good position where they get to guarantee a lot of things for themselves and consistently make things that give me bad faith in them instead of using what they can to their advantage.
Advantage and still mess it up.
That's exactly it. That is exactly it.
Gotcha.
You are set up to win and you decide to lose. So I wasn't going to look at them anyway. So the APO thing doesn't surprise me.
That is fair. That's a fair point. A very fair point. And yeah.
Ouch.
But anywho, somebody else can get the space. I went jump off.
No,
right,
boss. Duffy.
Thank
you very, very much.
And really strong point. Because yeah, I mean, people have sounded great on the rate, even myself, on the basis of all these things sound good for them. But then, how often has it been a case where how often has it been a case where the good thing is happening, right? Or the thing that we want, the thing that we expect to happen based on all the good things, still the thing has turned against them. So I see your point there, Duffy. Gotcha.
All right,
these orders in the bike are interesting, right?
Tell me. When you say interesting, what do you mean? In bike, you have 130.
Yeah, man, the bike you have it on your screen there. So orders 4 to 9.
Orders 4 to 9. Big up my money, JA, for helping us to see this very clearly, including the fact that it halted down to that $4. Wow. Orders 4 to 9, you say. So the 401.
It's like the person don't want to put 5,000 at the queue. It's like I don't want to put 5,000 orders. Orders at 5,000 each, 6 times. So I put 5,001, then I put 4,999, and that's to get at 10,000. I put 5,002, then I put 4,998. That's to get at 10,000. I put 5,003, then I put 4,997. That's together 10,000.
So like it's a maths brain.
It's at the strength of the buy, man.
You know that might be. Let me hear what do you think that could be?
I mean, the person does like numbers.
Okay. I see we also have I saw a couple of people said speaking requests. Lopo and Sir Piggles, and that's it.
Good.
They were talking about
maybe a true coincidence. 6 different people.
It could be. I have my own thoughts too.
Cool, man.
Good night.
One person that.
Healing morning, night, sir.
Morning, how you doing?
Hey, look, boss, what's up?
Not going on. It's a good, nice, fun week in the market.
Okay.
For you, Loco, for you.
For us all, why not? What is wrong? Have a chance to make another play at every time we have a chance to be in the market. So I think nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I would love to touch on one of the points you guys hit earlier with the conversation of it being shared in places that the APO is a great way to help illiquidity in a stock.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm not saying no. It's not the first place I heard that though. I think that was a big part of the narrative with the KP REIT APO saying that I remember in public dialogue with some leadership from KP REIT saying that we've explored different options and we did a rights issue before, and I think there was issues with it being taken up, and people who have the stock in a lot of our shareholders are long-term holders, not really interested in selling and interested in holding. So we have a lot.
That includes the people buying the APO. They
Stock
know that
price
about
never dropped, though.
I think if you want to say that about the people that already own the stock, sure. But then when I ask for the public, am I then assuming that the public has these thoughts that anybody buying into this thing? I mean, I would hope so. If you're looking at an APO or whatever, I would hope so.
Yeah, I guess that was the other, maybe not attitude. That was the narrative I felt was coming from that conversation. And I seen it already coming with 138. So, what do you guys think in terms of APO liquidity versus?
I've never heard in a business
What?
meeting where we're talking about the need for money, and then it comes up that our shares are illiquid. That's really a problem for us to solve. In the same vein of we need money. That's a shareholder problem. So when I hear that put forward as a reason that this is being done this way, what does that do for the business?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I would hope that whoever is saying it can answer. But the truth is, why is that problem to solve? I mean, I'm sure there are good answers. I can give good answers. So bring more liquidity in. They have one of our shareholder base. More people can think that. Then maybe later down we can raise money easier, because it's not just the same. It's not just the same three people that own the stock, own 7, 8, or 90% of the stock we have to raise from if we're doing that, right? So bring the public in. If that's the thought, then sure. But I would hope that when you consider that, if the APO effect takes place, then you would hope that the people that are then coming forward and they buy more of the stock later down for whatever raise or whatever. Suppose they had a problem with whatever was done in the past and it's still there. And it's still a problem, but then you dilute a solution.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a liquidity problem, I wouldn't be trying to exacerbate losing value for the people involved. My thing is, there's a logical understanding to me in my little novice brain about stocks, which is ownership. What do I own? How much do I own? What do I want from it? And those things have to have practical application. And my thing is, I don't know of liquidity not being. I think there's a lot of opportunity with liquidity being solved other ways that I don't know why that isn't a conversation if that was really being considered. I think Fast Rich became a way more liquid stock with doing a stock split before doing any version of the raises that they want to do, and believe other companies who, well, I mean, Salada did a stock split, and I actually haven't seen them action that into the raise as yet, but I think they made themselves more comfortable with doing it, and it kind of retains the value of shareholdership at the time. So I'd be interested to I think it would be an interesting ordeal to say maybe we need to see what happens if we kind of loosen up the shareholding with a stock split to make more shares available. and see what that does in the market without the dilution before I go to the dilution. Well, I guess
I think the truth is that it has nothing to do with liquidity. Just say you want to raise money and go buy your business. Why tell them about liquidity? Why the shareholder participation and all those nice fancy things? What's the point of that? In this thing where you're raising money, what's the benefit for anybody? That, you get to bring the public in. Like, tell me the actual benefit there. I've yet to hear it. If the most I've ever heard, which is not that, it's we want to open up our options for getting money. So we're not going to ask just our shareholders. We're going to ask everybody for money. That sounds like, better you said that, because then that sounds like a real case of, all right, cool, we're not so sure we get this money. Whoever tell me how to get money never really tell me, say, there's a possibility outside of this, or maybe I don't know this thing. So when I was talking, whatever, I said, well, my shareholder base is this, and if I'm going to raise money on the market, then in my mind, I want to put my thing to more people. So again, you shop more widely, so you end up with more customers, something like that. Then better say that. That sounds like okay. That's something logical to the raise. But then you talk about liquidity and shares moving and who owns. What does that have to do with this?
Yeah.
So if it's how often shares move or thing there, how liquid the stock is, then if you tell me about you want a wider net, then better say that.
Well, I've also seen dialogue to say that the pricing of will match, which I definitely agree. But I kind of...
I've heard that more than once over different places, and the pricing of the APO is where the issue of the price comes in. I agree. I don't fully agree on that. I don't agree on that one. I think the issue with APOs has not been a pricing issue. Is actually the liquidity issue. We give a lot of people shares, and those people are then incentivized. We got a lot of people shares in a way that at announcement they're incentivized to sell, and then now they own a lot, and because it was such a wide participation, then the shares on the market are no longer viewed as as we call it, as desirable, because we just get a bag of shares in this new thing. So
exactly that.
where is the market for buyers? There's not any, because everybody was buying. Go buy on the APO. So when it's time to sell, what happens?
That's kind of what I was thinking on the line of, even in the line of agreement, is that the valuation in terms of price is not just what pricing the offer is, it is all of the ramifications of the market. Like, you have to, the pricing cannot just be based off of a fundamental metric. It has to be...
I get it, boy, stop using that word like that. The idea that it's funny because in every financial conversation, we know that liquidity does have something to do with the value. Which is why we talk about, again, demand and supply. That's liquidity.
Right.
Availability of something. So if we then look at that and then decide that availability no longer matters in a conversation because the balance sheet and the value of the assets or the level of profits that they think there, that doesn't make sense. It really cannot, because then you ignore every other thing in finance or every other thing in economics that points to those things as being material and fundamental for evaluation.
Agreed. I agree. That's why I didn't want to touch upon it. But yeah, man, good convo. We can go and bounce it round.
but then so you're now saying that you're blaming the implementation and not the mechanism? What can you just confirm or deny?
I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, no. Sorry, officer. Explain that one a bit better.
No, so it's not necessarily the APO, but the implementation of said APO that is the problem.
Show me an APO.
You can tell from his tone that all I'm trying to do is trouble.
You see me?
Yeah.
Maybe you have an APO where you also want share.
No, hold on. I'll say it. It's the mechanism is called a dilutive secondary offer, and the mechanism is the problem. Dilutive secondary offers are destructive to share price on markets all around. They are
All right.
down
But
upon.
Randy, I
Hold
don't have
on. You're down. Say that again.
I don't have the MMGA money market, so I can't find examples. So can you just tell me an example? Stop.
Please stop. In fact,
because
in fact,
you
I
don't say the word
noticed.
APO. There are examples.
But let's have a nice little change of pace. Actually, I noticed Sir Dino Hines has joined us on the space, and I
Indeed.
think it's a great opportunity to
A
talk
man
to
with
him.
big things.
Yeah, and Dino Hines, for the people who don't know, is I don't want to get it wrong, Sir Dino, so correct me if I get it wrong, but I believe he's CEO of MFS Capital Partners. And that is squarely in line with that's a company that is squarely in line with our topic this evening, which is you know the Rebirth is a company that is I think maybe in its early stages of its own rebirth. And I think it's great that we get a chance to talk to him. Thank you for joining us. Dino, you can hear us?
What's
Yes,
up?
man. Good night, guys. I hear you clear, loud and clear.
All right, wonderful. Welcome to Brick Talk, Dino. And in case you don't, I don't know if it's your first time listening, but it literally just a conversation, a regular conversation. So you feel free to weigh in with all your points. Don't be surprised if people come in and they have questions or points they want to make or so on. So yeah, it's a chat. Think of it like a nut. You feel free
Yeah,
to
it's the
weigh in with
first
all your
time
points.
I'm
Don't be
joining the
surprised if people.
forum. It has been very interesting so far. I know about the forum. I'll definitely be joining a lot more. I won't try to have a conversation, but definitely if there are questions or I might pop in with a little comment here and just to give my perspective on some of the topics that we're talking about. Um, early it would, especially with some of the, and most of my comments probably won't be, well, I'll answer questions if participants have questions re MFS. Most of my comments will be mostly on other companies that, or I might ask a couple of questions. Like, for example, I wanted to know in your earlier conversation about companies which are bouncing back after the pandemic, what you guys think about everything fresh.
Dino, you know what I like? I think you're maybe one of the few CEOs who joined the conversation asking about like stocks on the market.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's because my background and the areas which I play in and which I enjoy playing in, which is financial assets, stocks, bonds, corporate paper. So I really love that space. So I will be interested in anything financial markets. I'll have an interest.
Okay. All right. Big up. Well, you know what? I don't want it to be last. So you ask a question. So you say what we think about
everything fresh.
Everything
After the
fresh.
pandemic.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Everything fresh. I think, in my view, as my personal view, I think they were not necessarily in the best state before the pandemic. Yeah. And I don't know if they used the pandemic to get as strong as I think that they could get.
Should have, yes.
Yeah. And I'm biased in that I'm comparing them. I'm biased. I'm comparing them to CPJ, which is leagues ahead of them. It would appear. He's just looking at financials, leagues ahead of everything fresh. And they are competitors, right? But everything fresh itself, invest the thing that is often great doesn't always seem great at first, which again, right on target with our conversation tonight, because I said to Danhai all the time that it's when a company is bad that the opportunity really is there. Because if you get in when it becomes great and everybody know that it's great, you're gonna get the same returns as everybody else. The real gem, I think, is to find the thing before it becomes great. But when you're seeing the signs that it is going to become great, everything fresh.
The actual risk.
Yeah, man. Everything fresh. You look like it started to get the pandemic. Even before the pandemic, they were doing some reworking. I don't remember they bought an app store, but it seemed last very long. And what else did they buy?
Barbados? Was it Barbados?
I think everything Fresh Bahamas Limited.
Bahamas.
Yeah, but in terms of the bottom line, I mean, they still look like they have some ways to go. But to their credit, the last quarter that they reported, the third quarter, it was a profitable quarter, as have been all the quarters this year, first, second, and third, and they are actually at this point at least looking at a 40 million profit. Would be the first time seen financial year that they would have made a profit. If they can if they finish the year in the same fashion. So from what I'm saying, to me it becomes attractive, and I'm being very careful with that word. To me it becomes attractive in the way that I find things that are not yet good attractive, because it is the process of getting them from less attractive to good that you find the profit, right? Which you yourself would know, having taken an entity that was in a bad state, a shell essentially, going through it, and bringing it to a point now where we're seeing. I know you can't say much about it, so I'll be careful what I ask, but where we're seeing a lot more hope for the thing. Let's say that up to the last quarter report, I saw new revenue lines coming in. I thought that was very, very good, and a nice profit, 5 million, and a wonderful set of financials on time, no delays, and acquisitions being spoken of. That to me is like the diamond in the rough coming a little bit out of the rough, right? Being a little bit more obvious to people now. So
more polished.
Yeah, so it's a long answer to your question, but I like everything only on the basis that it is something that I think is showing, the signs of improving, but I wouldn't say as clearly. I don't have any money in it, and I'm not necessarily rushing to put any money there now, but that's how I feel about everything Fresh. How do you feel about everything Fresh, Dino?
Well, I think they have a good opportunity, especially given the area they're in. Compare them to CPJ, which is a good comparison. CPJ, much larger, stronger company with more areas and revenue lines and so on. But a fair comparison, because they're both playing in the tourism sector. I think the only thing, in my opinion, the only thing that will make them not successful going forward is if they have bad management and make bad management decision. But it's an area that is dominated by two companies, them and CPJ, and with tourism bouncing back so strongly, the company has an opportunity to grow and to do well. So I guess we just have to watch to see the kind of management decisions that are being made from quarter to quarter to make a decision to think it will be a good story going forward.
All right, I like that. Why did you pick that one out of all the 100 odd stocks on the market to ask you?
Well, I mean, it's a company that I've been looking at over a period of time, because having it based on it, certain companies are what I guess you would say they are kind of, I don't know if tangential is the right term, but there are certain companies which, if you're playing in the financial sector, especially in the foreign exchange market, take a look at them, because their fortunes move in relation to tourism, and it those affects companies like everything from CPJ, which are direct contributors to the tourism sector, and maybe sometimes that last, and the financial arm of Grace Kennedy in terms of Western Union, and so which are remittances, which is one of the largest contributors of foreign exchange. So we do take a look at them sometimes, kind of when we're looking at what is happening on the FX side, to see if there will be flow through to these companies and how it will benefit their bottom line, and whether or not it is time to take a look at stake.
You're looking at it from the perspective of buying in, possibly
Right.
buying in.
Right.
Okay, as in you personally.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear on that before people say that you're talking about MFS. And of course,
No, I know it's about
Oh no,
MFS.
man.
yeah.
So just to add a little bit, I mean, MFS acquisition we announced, which is is a very active participant in the foreign exchange market. And of course, we're just waiting on the company is a regulated company, so of course we have to just ensure that we dot our I's, cross our T's, get our regulator approval, which shouldn't be a problem. All directors are fit and proper, so it should not be a problem. But it's an area, foreign exchange trading, trading of all financial assets are areas that I think personally potential houses in Jamaica. There's a strategy that you can employ, and we look at international companies like Cantor Fitzgerald, for example, company in the United States. Look at their volumes annually in terms of trading in treasuries and all of these things. Relative to large institutions, their volumes are really high because they make a concerted effort to look at just very low risk to your balance sheet in terms of doing back-to-back trades, where you just really matching a transaction, getting a trading gain on it, whether it is foreign exchange, whether it is bonds, any asset like that, just being market makers on a daily basis and making profits, and using your assets on your balance sheet for other investment type products. So we believe in that kind of strategy, and it's a strategy we think that is not fully built out or fully exploited by any financial institution in Jamaica. So it's a space that we think strongly that we can be big players in.
Wow. Okay. So that really simplify that for the people that don't get it. And you say a bunch of interesting things there that I don't even know which one to start with. One, you point out the fact that you're actually active in the foreign exchange market. You said that the entity that you're acquiring is active in the foreign exchange market.
Yes. So
No, I was going to say I'm not looking at the forex traders, but you're the real forex traders, the active local forex market, right? You're not
right. We're not talking about
Trading
international trading where we're basically doing margin trading. That's a different type of trading and a different type of risk altogether, right? So nothing wrong with that, and we can do that. We do have skill sets in our company that we can do that, but we're not looking to that right now. We think that in the local foreign exchange market, in terms of finding earners of foreign exchange and matching that with end users of foreign exchange, there is a big opportunity there for us to take market share from some of the larger players who probably get a little fat and comfortable. And we think that that's an area that we still have a lot of opportunity in. So it's an area that we think our market share will grow significantly as our company grow over the next couple of years.
It's an angle I haven't heard anybody talk about, and the fact that you call yourself a boutique financial house now, I think is extremely interesting. And that's how you see yourself yourself and the team at MFS as, right? You guys are offering boutique services. That's the plan going forward. I must tell you, I should tell you, Dana and I privately talk about this. Even though you guys have put out very clear timelines for the acquisition, the fact that you're acquiring, I think that's the things that have been, I think it's missed because last year, the end of last year was so exciting. And this year, of course, at the start of the year, it's still kind of exciting. But I think people have missed the fact that what you said is something very, very clear and simple, that you guys have an acquisition and you're telling us that the thing that you're acquiring is not a new company, it's something that's already doing business and doing business in an area that you think that you guys can grow. And it sounds to me like take over that niche or define a new niche.
Because as we indicated, we're not, the company used to play in the startup. We're not really interested in that area. Not saying that in the future, if we should look at that, we will do that in a totally different company, right? Not a listed company. We think that in terms of the startup, those companies need time to grow, and I don't think you want to do that in the spotlight of a listed company.
Why?
Right? Huh?
Why?
You remember, as a listed company, you're accountable to your shareholders. You have to more or less be providing, quarterly, annual updates where you want to see, shareholders want to see increase in value, increase in returns. Some of the startups, you want to give them time to be able to trial and error, to not make profits, to come along slowly, and then if necessary, you bring them to market, or you bring them to into a private equity space at a later stage of their development. That's my personal perspective. I'm not saying another investor, another company would not or could not see it differently and bring it another way. But especially for a company like ours, which, realistically speaking, has in its earlier life, for want of a better word, had a very bad run. At this time, you want the company to start to have some wins. So we're not really interested in adding any startup companies, at this time. As I said, in the future, we could change that approach if, as a team, if our stakeholders think it's time that we can start doing that. But for now, we're looking to add fast-growing companies to our set of portfolio companies so that companies in a year can start to show some growth, strong returns. And that's really what we're looking at now.
All right. I like that. So you're not limiting yourself to what was there before, but you're growing in the areas that you know that you're good at. And so pretty much, that's nice. Like, you're coming from somewhere bad, but you turn it into something good, and you're using the strengths that you have to grow even better. I don't even know which question to ask. In fact, I don't want to keep the questions to myself. I know a lot of people who are joining might have any questions. I see Robbie Larson just sent a speaking request. Hi, great Cliff. Cliff, what's up? What are you doing? You have a question for me, or you have a question for Danhai or
Dino
himself?
Yeah, man, I have a question for Dino because I think I don't want to
We're
ask him
hardly
anything.
hearing you. You can.
I'm not hearing him much, Cliff.
Man, you hear no better
I hear
now?
myself. I hear myself on your side better than I'm hearing you.
Oh. And the better?
Mm-mm.
No.
Try one more time, Cliff. Let me see. Let me mute everybody and unmute.
Yeah, you hearing me now?
No,
No. Damn.
we're still hearing ourselves better.
All right, let me jump off and then try come back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I enough. I don't know if in the meantime anybody else, Dr. Bill, Pickles, Lopo, you guys have any questions?
Good day, sir.
Boy, I'm gonna ask him about fiscal.
I'm the guest man. I'm the guest man, but you know, I was with your company. Is there anything in that would attract new stakeholders or new stockholders to your company? Anything that you want to tell us that it might pique our interest as persons in the market?
Well, I think he just said a lot that wouldn't.
Oh
Yeah.
man, well, that's it. We'll put it this way then.
Sorry, I don't. You hear me?
We're hearing you okay, man.
I hear you loud and clear.
Right. So you know that beyond the announcement that we have made, the announcements we have made so far, I can't make any specific announcements. That's why you see I'm speaking. Most of what I'm speaking about is specific to do with the acquisition that we have announced. But we've also stated that we have other companies in the pipeline that we're working on, and there are others which are close to signing off on. So one of the things that we have gone on from last year and announcing ourselves to the market. Announcing ourselves to the market, announcing that we're in the private equity space, that there's no shortage of deals that are coming our way. There's nurses are coming to a daily basis, almost putting proposals, looking for private equity investments, and we just have to ensure that we're doing our due diligence and ensuring that we're making the right choices as it relates to potential acquisitions. That you ask if there's anything exciting that is coming. I mean, every acquisition that we're doing, we believe is exciting, and we believe will bring significant value to our company.
Oh, okay. And as a follow-up question, just to make sure I wasn't misunderstood. Speaking of right choices and additional corporate actions, how do you feel about rights issues versus APO?
How do I feel about what?
A right issue versus an APO for your company.
That's one. If I answer that question, I believe it could be interpretive. Just say that I think that you're an institution, right? You have to listen to your investors, and that's one of the things. I think that's the best answer I can give to that. So we have heard. I won't tell you what they have been telling us, but we have heard what they have been saying, and we are listening, and we intend to take their advice.
All right.
I thank you for your time, sir.
Yeah.
Tena ask him no guess at all. You know, ask him what you think about Fesco.
Give somebody such a chance.
Yo, what is that echo? Hello? Pickles?
I was echoing, so I was giving somebody such a chance.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. It's your echo. No problem.
Okay.
All right, boss. Much respect.
Much respect. I thank you, Dino, for navigating that answer very well. Let me just
Very
remind
skillfully.
people.
Very well.
Yeah, man. Let me just remind people that as happy as we are to have him join the space, he's still running a listed company, so he can't actually say certain things. But just in case anybody didn't hear what he said, I'll repeat it. He said that he and his team listen. I'm paraphrasing, but they listen to shareholders and they intend to continue to listen to their shareholders. Yeah, and I've only heard, at least from the perspective, speaking from the perspective of retail shareholders, myself also being a retail shareholder, I haven't heard any haven't really heard any retail shareholders asking for anything other than a rights issue. I know I am loud about the rights issues, so I won't put Dino on the spot to answer it, but I'm happy that he said that he's listening to shareholders. I think that's probably the best answer without crossing any lines. Sound good, Dino? Make sense?
Yes, definitely.
All right, perfect. And also that I should add something I think a lot of people don't know. So like I said, I think just because a lot of the noise that has happened in the space, this is a company that actually come out and said that they're acquiring another company. And I think along the way it's gotten lost. So Dino, just to make it ultra clear for everybody, your company, MFS Capital Partners, which is the listed company, is acquiring another company.
Yes, we're acquiring microfinancing solutions. They, as we indicated in our release, the company is regulated by Bank of Jamaica, so therefore we've paid foreign exchange based on our Cambia license. We are sub-agents for both MoneyGram and Western Union. We also do bill payment. So we do all money services, products and services to our clients. And we have locations across Kingston, and the company is actually looking to add more locations. So I mean, before the end of this year, we should be up to maybe 5 locations.
And what do they do? What do you do at the location? Just to be clear, what does that company do?
Foreign exchange trading and remittances and bill payments. We exited the microloan space and we're going into private credit.
That's smart. So
yeah.
And you did that. Why would you choose that? Microloan space now is hot, but it's I won't say it's cooling, but obviously there are a lot of smaller players that are coming out of that space because they can't go through the trouble of getting through the BOJ's rigorous process. But I think you said that company is already licensed by the BOJ, right?
Yes, it's already regulated by the BOJ. It wasn't a situation where we were looking at where had nothing to do with going through the process of applying. It was more from a strategic perspective where we're looking at how can you grow your balance sheet quicker but safer, right? So the microloan space has done well. It has done well in Jamaica, and no doubt it did very well for microfinancing solutions, which started out that was the first and only product it started with before growing into the other product line which I mentioned. But the space, it's an area which it's when we have looked at the players in the sector, and we have looked at hold on guys, hold on.
No problem. Dina getting a call right now. All right, so while he take that call, he'll unmute once. Okay, you can hear us?
Yeah, man, I hear. Sorry, a call just came in on the phone, so that's why I chipped out for a little bit. So I was saying that when we look at like a Cygnus and how quickly they were able to grow their balance sheet, and these loans are unlike micro lending, which is unsecured, harder to administer, higher risk. Private credit comes with more secure lending, so it's less risky, and also you're giving larger loans, so you're able to grow your balance sheet at a much faster pace. So we think that it's an area that we want to get into.
So you're still doing the debt, but you're doing the debt you're doing the
More
debt
see.
along lines that make a bit more sense. And if I remember correctly, in the last set of results that we saw from MFS, actually mentioned the new line of business being receivables financing. So that's along that exact line, right?
Yes, that's along that line. That's the area that we think a lot of growth opportunity, and it's less saturated, it's less jam packed, it's easier to administer because unlike micro lending. So we're looking to grow an organization. As I mentioned, the international models that we'll look at in terms of building out our strategy. So we're looking to build an organization that has strong internal controls, but doesn't require a lot of admin or a lot of back office overhead. So therefore, don't have to have a million staff to run $100 billion company if we get to that level, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of our strategy and how we choose the different product areas that we want to get into. So overall, I've been for many years in terms of the financial markets, the financial sector, a lot of experience in the commercial banking space, investment banking space. There's a whole heap of different ways to make money, right? You just have to, as a company, choose the areas that you think, is best suited for the company, that your overall team is strong in, and you're trying to go out the park. So right now, we're not trying to do all things to all people. We're just trying to do the things that we do excellently and grow the business to a level. Any company that we're going to, we want to ensure that they have strong management, strong leadership, strong controls. We just come in and add our expertise to it, and add strong corporate governance to these companies, and ensure that we're always looking to preserve and protect shareholder value.
That's a good answer to me.
That makes perfect sense to me. I like that. So you're not trying to. I mean, to me, that's how companies get massive, right? And get massive overnight. That's how you do it, and you concentrate it in the areas that you have a hell of an advantage in. So to put it to people in a keen way, a clear way. I didn't realize that the notice had actually said it. As you notice, so the company is a sub-agent of MoneyGram and Union.
Yes, and we are one of the first company in Jamaica, and we're not the first, but we're one of the very first companies in Jamaica to actually offer both are the two leading remittance products to the market, right? And it was simple as us just asking, right? So first we were just on the MoneyGram, and we just reached out to Western Union and said, do you mind, sharing a space with MoneyGram? And I said no. They come, they view our facility, and they decide to. And I can tell you this: we have, in terms of money shops in Jamaica, our New Kingston money shop is one of the best in terms of setup, in terms of service, in terms of parking, all of these things. I mean, I guess I give in a free ad.
I won't charge you.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and that's the model that we want to replicate, across Jamaica. So you go into certain places, and it's the lines, the environment, and so on. You don't feel comfortable collecting there. That's safe, but our environment is top tier, and it's something that I don't, like I said, I have other things in terms of, even for this specific acquisition, that we haven't announced yet to the market. So I don't want to say too much, but there are ways that we're looking to add additional products to the company post acquisition. We're working on those behind the background in terms of international relationships that we're looking to bring. So I guess I'll sign off by saying we don't plan to be sub-agents forever. So people can.
Word.
Yeah.
Love that.
Word.
Gotcha.
I like that. And that's a company that is being acquired. How much of the company are you acquiring? Just to remind people.
So I'm 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a nice. It's becoming. So MFS is becoming truly MFS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And
and
It's becoming the MFS. So MFS and
yeah.
MFS come together. All right.
yeah, and I mean, guys, like I said, we have other pipeline acquisitions. We're working on them. We're just landing this one first. But I mean, we expect that another announcement will follow shortly. And I mean, for those persons who are new to to myself and to the whole MFS branding, you can just look back at a couple of things that we have said in the past, a couple of articles that were done maybe in like a 2017 to see some of the things that we said we were going to achieve and what we wanted to become. And you'll get a roadmap as to where we are going in order.
What year did you say? To like 2017?
Like about 2017, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow. Okay. That sounds very, very
Beautiful.
specific. So very, very, very specific. Immediately
Indeed, right?
start.
Like you want to bet like 10 yeah, man.
Yeah,
Try to give
man.
you the month and the date, right, Andy?
No,
Which
because I mean, I remember like in about 2016, and sometimes it just reminds me like when I left I left high school and I got my first job in a bank and I walk in the day and I sat down and I said, um, in 5 years I'm going to be the general manager. It never happened, but so I said that to say that sometimes you outline a strategy and it will take a little longer than you expect, but doesn't mean that you're not going to achieve it. So some of the things that was set out to be, look at, like, for example, microfinancing solutions website, you will see where from we created the website a long ago. We said that our intention was to become a boutique full service investment house and the premier investment and equity firm in the. So that was the objective from way back then when we first created our website. And we think that we know that we're going to be that, right? So we're not planning to just be a Jamaican firm. We know that we intend to a Caribbean firm, and we think that that a lot of firms, I think what we are looking to do, I think a lot of the larger firms which have already established a large presence in terms of brick and mortar, in terms of the reach, in terms of their retail spread and so on. We think a lot of those larger firms, if they did not invest in that over the years, then a boutique investment house which uses technology and so on to reach its target clients and so on would be the strategy that a lot of them would follow, because you will see a couple of years ago I worked at one of the dominant investment house in Jamaica, and when we did an analysis, right? So we did an analysis back then, and when you looked at the analysis, right, if you strip out the entire retail section at the firm, the total revenues would fall, but the net profit would increase, right? Because the retail, a lot of persons don't realize and understand that being a large retail institution come with a whole heap of overhead, a whole heap of cost, a whole heap of structure. That's why you see companies like NCB, Scotiabank over the last few years have been closing a lot of branches because of the costs associated with running these things. And technology don't don't need to do that anymore. Right?
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say that, So then I just step off, but that's one of the things that I realized that you're hitting the competition with pretty heavily, meaning your footprint is smaller, yet you're able to effectively give the same level of service that people would want. So as a result, your margins naturally would be bigger, right? If both of us getting $10, but it costs me $7 to get the $10, it only costs you $2 to get the $10. Your profit is naturally bigger.
Yeah, that's correct. And
Yeah.
if, for example, if you look into, for example, let's look at one of the products, right? Foreign exchange trading, for example. You don't need a branch in Montego Bay to have 50 clients in Montego Bay. You send 2 staff members to Montego Bay for a week, you put them up in a hotel, they reach out to all of these clients, they establish the relationship with the onboard the client. And after that, when the client want to sell foreign exchange, they just call you and you give them your wire instructions. They give you their Jamaican dollar instructions and you just do the transaction. Right?
So you plan to lead heavily on tech.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I like that. On that point, though, I do like that Microfinancing Solutions has a website, a nice website that shows, the rates and the services and so on, microfinancingsolutions.com. But I got a message saying I should ask you about MFS Capital Markets, not Capital Markets, MFS Cap Limited, because that website we haven't seen go live just yet. So
Oh yeah. I
when
mean, before the end of the month it will be live. We had engaged the services of a technician to bring it up for us, and I think I was encountering some challenges, but it will be live shortly because it's a requirement for most of it. So we will we're fixing that.
I love
So
that.
like I said, I don't want. I guess even though I said it, I didn't want to have the entire conversation. I ended up doing that. So
I don't think anybody minds but I know you've done, you've been doing
Don't mind
the
at all.
interview run, I'm sure for a good little while now. I should ask you this because always, you get asked questions. If you could be asked questions, what's the question that you've always wanted to be asked in an interview?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think a lot of persons will ask questions, especially when they're doing interviews. A lot of persons ask questions in terms of revenues, in terms of your plans and so on. But in the current environment, what I want persons to ask me about and to speak a lot about, and I'm hoping that I'll do a forum on it soon, is in terms of internal controls and your corporate, your operations and so on. So why it's interesting to me is that because for the first half of my financial life, I was a back office person, working in back office, working in controls. So any organization that I am a part of, I always ensure that it has strong internal control. So even at where I am at now, we ensure that every transaction, every deal, everything has that as a situation where it's a dual approval process. It's not no one person can't do certain transaction, can't move monies in a particular way. You have to ensure that your reconciliations are on point. So it's a topic that I would love to kind of sit down one day and present to an audience on, and to I guess it's not something that it's easily that you can easily vet an organization on. So I guess that's why persons have gotten so so scared in terms of their investment dollars and so on. Because you can't go to Scotia or any of these companies and say, hey, let me see your policies and procedures, right?
Not
So I
easy.
guess you just have
Yeah.
to trust the fate of the organization. But it's one of the thing where if you're not on point with it, it can bring down your company. And you can look at a lot of the greatest. I can't remember that fraud now that happened at this company in Europe where the guy was both on the initiating and the approving side. I tell you guys about it one day, but that is one of the things where you have to ensure that you put in the infrastructure work and you spend the money and ensure that your controls are there and that your compliance function is really strong.
Wow. That's not what I'd expect to hear. You want to talk about that light that you're talking about that. And
Yeah, that's
one thing we know. So Danhai also is from that side.
It's notorious for the business side to not want to talk about that. So it's pretty thing there. Pretty big that the business side is talking about, wants to talk about that. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, because you have to what has happened has shaken the confidence of the invested market. It's important that you can bring back that, and you try that the persons need to understand that if you really dig down deep into it, based on what we have seen so far, we don't know what else will come up, but what you have seen so far shows that it's a failure of the internal controls in the organization, because one employee is not supposed to be able to get instructions from a client, and another person in the back office doesn't directly verify with the client that they in fact did send the instructions. That's a simple control mechanism that should be in every organization.
All right, I love that. I'm hearing that from you, and I think it's a good sign, especially because as you say, you cut your teeth in the back office earlier, and the company you're acquiring is under the BOJ, and we know the BOJ don't play when it comes to their controls. Yeah, man. And the fact that you've gotten and maintained all of those licenses from the BOJ, I think is a great point, because now, well, we're at the point now where BOJ is going to be the one running everything and overseeing everything. Yeah, and that I think is a testament to how strong the BOJ has been on control. So I am happy to hear you say that. I really never expected you to say that, actually. I'm properly surprised. That's the thing that you'd love to talk about. Wow. So you mentioned that you're at a couple of places. Where have you been? If you can say, if you want to say. Or what have you done in the past? Because I don't think people really know much about you. Like what?
Well, I mean, I was head of treasury at First Global Bank for a little bit. I was senior vice president at Mayberry for treasury trading and asset management. Those are my two most recent appointment before going and becoming an entrepreneur.
Okay. What's your favorite? Everybody like a part. Everybody in finance like a part of finance that them really like. What's your favorite thing?
Well, let me tell you, I do love the whole of treasury management, because starting out as a trader, and when you're trading an asset class, your focus is on that asset class, right? So therefore, you're looking, for example, at maybe the equities, and what are the fundamentals or technical analysis for the equities. Are you looking at FX? Are you looking at the fundamentals and technicals for your FX market? But when you're the treasurer and you're in charge of all the traders and all the asset class, and you're able to see the actual flow of money, and where the flows are going, and also taking into account interest rates, and doing your gap analysis, I think it helps you to make better decisions in terms of trading all the asset class. So the trader can have a more short-term view because he's seen what is happening on the day or the week and so on. But when you're the treasurer now, you kind of get. So I love being in charge of the entire treasury management aspect of the organization. Being able to, yeah.
A lot of people that listen don't really know finance. So a lot of non-finance people listen. Pretty much that's the control of the money for the entire, let's say, a company or
the whole machine.
Yeah.
Right.
So like if it was a bank and like Dino said, two people in the bank might work in just foreign exchange, but the head of the money for the bank has to think about the overall picture, which is why sometimes you might see them making decisions that from a limited perspective don't seem like it makes sense, but they're seeing a much wider thing. So you like the macro view.
Exactly. So that's an era where you realize that almost all the financial institutions in Jamaica, the treasurer actually is in charge of the trading team. So all the traders and so on will report to the treasurer because he has that global view. He's the one that, if it is that, for example, just to give a quick example, if, for example, it's good to go long US dollar, right? Because the Jamaican dollar devaluing, so you want to buy up some US dollar. But the Jamaican dollar money market trader is short and don't have no money. The treasurer have to override the FX trader and say, no, you have to, even though you're going to make a loss, you have to sell because we need Jamaican dollars. We need to cover our position. So, it's some of those decisions, as I said, that persons will see maybe one side and say, that don't make no sense. But, when you're looking at the global picture, you realize, and it's also that person who other persons in the organization have come to. For example, they had a credit, for example, might want to disperse a loan for $1 billion, say at 6%, because he really want to grow his loan book. That's his mandate. He has to grow his loan portfolio. The bank tell him so he need to grow the loan portfolio by X percentage, right? So he come and then go to a company and the company say, yeah, me borrow $1 billion from you, but we want to do it at 6%. The treasurer will say, no, but why would I approve you giving a loan at 6% when the risk-free rate, which is the treasury bill or the OJCD from persons, is at 8%. Make no sense. You're giving out a riskier loan to a corporate when the government will pay you 8% on a CD, or the treasury bill yield is at 9%. So the treasurer, is the one who also will set your loan rates and so on. So it's an era where, for young bankers, young persons who want to grow in the sector, it's an area that person should aspire to want to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. I see we have Alexa who joined us. Alexa Dana, the wealth nut, the health, the wealth nut. I like that.
Hi, good night, everybody. Night, Mr. Hyman.
Evening.
What?
I just had a.
Boy, I think you have the same problem as Cliff. We can barely hear you.
I'm using my headphones. Hold on. Any better?
Is it banger?
I'm not even going to joke about that. No. Am I any louder? Any better?
Not really.
Not really. We can hear you. We can make it.
You want to just use the phone directly?
Yeah. Well, I typed my first question in the chat. I don't know if you could read it while I deal with the audio. I was just asking about the real estate activity of MFS, which I know Mr. Hines has spoken about some time before. Wondering if he can share.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dina, I don't know if you heard her. She's asking about the real estate side of things. Because you'd spoken about that earlier, I guess earlier in the whole takeover process. Is what you mean, right, Alexa?
Yes.
Right. I think we did say yes that our core areas of interest are money services, investment banking, and real estate. So we do have pipeline acquisitions that we're looking at, which in that space. I mean, if you want me to, I don't have nothing to announce in terms of MFS Capital Partners in terms of real estate, of course, really I couldn't do that. But in terms of our private companies, I mean, I can just tell you that we have already acquired significant amount of real estate in terms of just acquiring them, and we're looking to move to the next phase in terms of those assets before the end of this year, in terms of starting development of at least one of the lands, the parcel lands that we have acquired.
Also, it's undeveloped land you have right now.
Right, we have undeveloped land. We have land that is we think they are very attractive in very attractive areas, and so on. And like I said, guys, this is not in the public companies, private companies.
Yeah, man.
That we have acquired. We have acquired in total, we have acquired close to 50 acres across Jamaica already, and these are prime properties that are already zoned for residential. So we just need to, as I said, we would need to get our architectural drawings done, get our approval from the various parish councils and so on before we can start building. But we are hoping that at least one of them we should break ground before the start of the year, before the end of the year. And of course, we will make a lot of noise about it when we break ground.
Okay. We're looking forward to that then. Alex, yeah. I hope you heard that. I hope it was good.
I had one other question, if I may.
Yeah, man, go ahead. No problem.
Again, some time ago, you talked about, well, you kind of said that earlier in Brick Talk, where you're more interested in acquiring. But I think some time ago, you had mentioned like some interest outside of Jamaica. I was just wondering how that was going. I think you said something about Barbados and Guyana. If you can share.
Yeah, we can share to some extent. Yeah, we have not signed off on anything in either country, but we're still going through the process in terms of due diligence. We have gone to myself, but I'm a member of visited Guyana late last year. We made a lot of connections there. We have been having back and forth conversation. We think another visit is necessary in short order for us to kind of tie up something. So we're planning to do that maybe before the end of March to do another visit, because like I said, we did one visit late last year. We have been having telephone conversations with two potential partnerships in Guyana, and we think another visit might be necessary for us to be able to sign off something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and thank you, Sir Dino. Safe trip. I hope that's a very fruitful trip.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Randy.
We have been. I mean, we're looking at. You see, one of the things is that you have to. I mean, there are certain areas in Guyana and certain not even non-financial sector areas that are really attractive. Because, for example, we have been having some conversations with a party that's in that has and land, has the permit, has the land, but need mining equipment. So he came to us looking debt financing. We talked to him and say, hey, maybe equity funding a better strategy. So the opportunity is there, because you have to look down the road and see what Guyana is going to need. So with the economy growing so fast and a lot of everyone moving to Guyana, the housing market will be picking up you know, in the future if you look into it. So, and with this guy having hundreds of acres with sand and all of these things, it would be a great opportunity if we're able to pull it off. But we just need to be able to pull off something in short order. So we're working on stuff, you know, guys.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You say you asked him what was his response?
It's favorable, but you know, I think that why, you know, when you're in this private equity space, sometimes deals take a little bit to come together because persons, you have to tell a lot of these guys on the fact that you're giving up a stake, but it will be a larger pie.
Yes.
So that's kind of what you have to sell people, because for a lot of them it's their baby, you know, they have grown, they have struggled with it, they have brought it to a point where, you know, it is now something that other people are interested in. So, you know, convincing them to say, yeah man, give me 51% is a hard pill to digest, you know. So it does take a little time sometimes to get that shiny object that you're going after.
Well, you put it in the work. 51%. I like that talk.
Is it me?
Yeah, I really like that talk. I like the question. I noticed, I don't know if I have it right, but I think you guys have also, when you just start, wait, before I even move on, because you made a great point there. It is hard to convince private company owners to give a piece of, regardless of 51% or not, give up a piece of what they've built. But you would have gone down the exact same road. Why were you convinced to do it? Because you didn't have to do it.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you know, it is when you come out of the financial sector and you kind of get a feel of the capital markets, I guess it's easier because you have seen it happen so many times.
Yes,
You have been a part of committees where you have brought companies that have been listed on the stock exchange. Some of the companies, we look at some of the companies and
we were talking about CPJ earlier.
Yeah,
CPJ this was not CPJ today.
Yeah, so you have seen it. So therefore, it's easier for you to say, but it's better to be a part owner of $1 billion business. Like I said,
you know what it smells like when it bake already. So
right. So I guess it's an easier decision for in action. So it's an easier decision for myself. Right.
Well, I'm happy. I'm really happy to hear that.
Happy you're sharing the pie, sir. Yeah, man.
Really happy sharing the pie. Lighter question. I noticed that your logo changed between like the quarterly reports and the annual report. It's a completely. I noticed that you got a nice logo. You bring the bull in.
Bring the bull in.
Yeah.
You see, one of the things is that we have such a nice board of directors, a strong, diversified board of directors. One of our directors, our background is in marketing and so on, having worked in a lot of large organizations, created you know, their logos and so on. So she was quite adamant that this is the logo that she wanted and so on. So I mean, I take the guidance, you know, I'm very happy that I have a team that I can rely on to give me guidance.
And that's Anika Jelly?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the people on YouTube are seeing the last annual report that you put out. So the profile of the director there.
Yes,
yeah.
So we therefore we you know, we're looking to draw, and I would draw on our directors, you know, at the areas of expertise. You know, we do have a lawyer on our board, so we can draw on her guidance in areas that we need. So
sense, right?
yes. So
just making sure that we give the people them flowers and them names get called properly.
Yeah. So it is something that we're happy about. And of course, we will, as a company, grow on the board more. So that is the new logo is based on the guidance of our director, Anika.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I like it. I like the interest. I like the look. Yeah, I really like
the meaning.
We're very bullish.
It's saying young people should be bullish on MFS.
Well, your share price has been bullish for a lot of people, but I think there's even more to come. Of course, none of us can read the future, but if those plans that you're talking about come to fruition, then I think we'll all have a very happy time to come.
Bring some shareholder value.
Yeah, and I've looked at this exercise, this part we're on. I've looked at it not as an overnight thing. I've looked at it. I mean, I'm not trying to advise anybody. I mean, based on my position, I can advise people to buy my stock or to not buy my stock.
Right.
But what I can say is that we know the path we're on in terms of our long-term build and what we have in the pipeline and what we know will happen in another year, another 2 years. And we're really excited about it. Being in a private company and so on, is all good and well. But I guess maybe based on my personality, I'm excited to have to answer to a board, answer to shareholders. I look forward to that. I look forward to we have committed that the last virtual would be the last, because our shareholders said they don't want that anymore.
Your next AGM is in person.
Yeah, our next AGM in person, and I look forward to standing up in front of everybody and getting beaten up if necessary. I get curious if it's warranted.
I love that sort of attitude. I love that you're doing that. You're not looking to move away from it at all.
No, we would definitely think we know we're on a winning path, right? And like I said, we can't say a lot, but based on what we have been working on, right? If 10% of what we have been working on, and I know a lot more higher percentage than that will happen, but if 10% of what we're working on happens, we'll be a $10 billion company in 3 years.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Somebody write that down.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Big up. Well, Sir Dino, thank you. I don't want. We're out. I know it's a Friday evening. You probably have some great things you might want to go. I like that you started off with a question about another company. I don't know if you have any other questions you'd love to ask. What's another stock that you like outside of MFS, of course? Another company.
Well, I'll tell you. In recent times, I've been buying some. It has gotten beaten up a lot, especially because of the fact that they have not paid any dividend this quarter. The last quarter wasn't great, but then, I mean, you discount the last quarter and the last financial year, but it has gotten really beaten up because of the lack of dividends and so on. And I looked and I was like, start back pay dividend, and I don't know if this is the bottom, but they're gonna start pay dividend at some time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start pick up little, and if I go down more, I'll pick up some more. Whether it's 6 months or a year from now, Mr. Leachin needs some dividends soon. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, I saw an article today from somebody. I don't know how accurate it is, but I saw an article in a girl group where somebody was sharing that he's selling his yacht.
Where's one that Dino but?
No.
But 3 years, Dino.
When I think also, that a lot of these financial institutions that do benefit a lot when interest rates go up, I mean, yeah, you have the side where there is the risk where their non-performing portfolio can increase if it gets a bit out of hand in terms of the interest rate. But in if you work in a bank like I have, that when interest rates go up, you move the rate of your loan product first, and then the rate and deposits lag. So therefore, your spread on your credit portfolio will increase in the short term and benefit the institution. So I mean, there is some possibility that some of these financial institutions, I don't know, some of these institutions like NCB or Scotia, which has large loan portfolios, can benefit in the short term, when interest rate move. Yeah.
That's a true point. And of course, NCB being the largest of them.
Yeah.
Well, it was technically. I
The
think now.
problem there is that they're not pure banks. I think that's where you might see the
Yeah,
part of
that's
that
why.
problem.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that affected them, if I remember correctly, was their insurance portfolio, and not the bank side of things, which
for once, right? For once, the bank has been a problem in years past.
Yes. So that's one of the things that persons should look at. But I think there might. I don't know when it will bounce, but I think they will bounce. That was $3 before COVID, So
yeah, it was. I think that was
2020 January thereabout.
Yeah, I feel it in 2021. Sorry, I'm looking at GHL instead of NCB, but NCB was levels of that I had in 2019, August 2019. It was and it's a bigger company now than it was in 2019.
Yeah. I think it has really gotten beaten up with the dividend this year. So I guess we'll have to see. I think any bounce in the stock will have to come with them starting to pay back dividends.
All right. Well, you're smart. You're getting in the work. You're getting your shares in early while it's still way below its prior highs. So I cannot that as a strategy. And you say you're buying it little, so it's only like dollar cost averaging to me. Which this is as bets go in the financial space. NCB is not a bad bet at all, in my personal view.
Yeah, I mean, if it is something that you're not looking to make a capital gains off in a month or 2 months, if it's a more long-term play.
All right, no problem. I see. All right, I ask one more. I see Dr. Bill himself have him hand up. So, Dr. Bill, I think it's a question you have for me or Danhai or for Sir Dino.
Just a last question for Sir. Evening, sir.
Good evening.
I was actually going to ask you to make sure that when the next AGM, a live AGM, that you keep a hybrid format, please. But then again, I'm thinking by that time, if your plans, as you say, even 10% come to fruition, I don't think I'll have a problem taking a flight.
No, I think also with I don't think any company will go back to full in person. I think everybody now will offer some amount of
hybrid.
Yeah,
way forward. And the fact that you're leaning on tech in your business, it only makes sense to lean on tech completely.
Yeah.
So, Sir Bill, you might not have to send the jet after all.
Can make it a land. Annual MFS.
Big up. All right, thank you for that, Sir Dino. All right, Sir Dino, I don't know if you have anything else you want to ask. I don't want to keep you too long. If you want to stay around, you're more than welcome.
I think for me, I'm gonna actually hop off now because I had another engagement with a kind of pushback. But I definitely will be joining in the future, asking questions and participating, not being the focal point as I was tonight.
No problem. You're in good standing now. We've had quite a few, especially in the finance field, quite a few top players join us. So thank you for joining that set of them.
Indeed.
And yeah, you're always welcome.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, big up, Sir Heinz.
Cool.
All right, so Danhai.
What's good? Boy, everything good, don't it?
Yeah, boy, the man said 3 years, 10 billion.
3 years, 10 billion.
Good, but
yeah.
That's one goes.
That's when I go.
When Jerry tells him goes.
Big up, Jerry. Guys, if you just joining, welcome. It's Brick Talk as usual. We just had a wonderful conversation with Dino Hines from MFS, who was talking about just his own likes on the market, some of the things he like, a little bit of MFS, and a lot of his own future plans, both private and some of them public. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, we can talk about anything else that you want as usual. So send a speaking request if you have any questions or anything. Before Sir Hines joined us, we were talking about what is the hot topic of the week. The impact of that announcement, and it kind of fizzled out, much like the share price. But anything else, anything you want to talk about, send a speaking request. If you're on YouTube, check the description. You'll see a thing called a space link. Click it, send a request, and we will talk whatever you want. We're more than happy to talk about it. Yeah, that's our any topic. Sir Piggles and Dr. Bill spoke before. Sir Piggles, I don't know if you had another question or anything you want to talk about before you ask those questions that the man can answer.
No, not really. No, my work here is done, But I don't know. I want
Man, just come and get trouble and gone.
That's no Randy, if you can get I'll ask if I can have some of those guest people come on this, I'm gonna try to arrange a guest speakers talk, isn't it? Yeah.
And they're your people, sir?
Yeah, man, we love to have them. Just send them across.
Yep. Yeah, man. The door is open to anybody to send a speaking request every week. We do it. It's not. It's not.
Make some calls, because this can't go on. So I think so far.
Please. Them can have them biggest cheerleader and fan on it every week, and then they'll come on and ask them to come on and talk. We love to hear from them. We love to talk to them, and it don't have to just be about fiscal. We like hearing about other things.
Oh, I see. I was just saying that from the notice, because remember something in the future, right? So I see the email, the message from about the countries SL is going to Egypt to discuss this APO thing. I said, Jaja, I'm gonna look panicky. I was like, it has begun, and so said so. But people, just go and hold the faith. All those have 138 SL stock, keep holding the faith, and just how we should look. All right, cool.
Trouble. Big up, Biggles. Oh boy. Then least thing you've seen this week.
Oh, that's a problem. You don't really catalog the least interesting one. You just move past. But let me try now. The least interesting. Say don't remember those. Open a news tab on My Money JA. Big up those guys.
Yeah, completely.
PBS board to consider dividend for perpetual cumulative redeeming preference shares.
That's probably that might be the least interesting thing. Even though there is the possibility of money there in everything, right?
Indeed.
Are there any other perpetual?
It might fit somebody.
It might fit somebody. If you have a lot of money, it might be great, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if you have a truly a lot of money. Yeah, perpetual. As long as these companies are around, I must eat a small food. I must have something.
Something must go on for me.
Something must go. Yeah. Wow. I actually had something to talk about it and I completely forgot it. Not with the PBS, but with another point on the market. And just going back to the point that Dino raised, the very first point that he raised when he asked about everything fresh. And he spoke about, how they're like competing with CPJ. But the whole tourism thing, I think
the rising tides.
Yeah, man. That's exactly the point I was going to make. Rising tide lift all boats, and I think that oftentimes we talk about tourism so much that it just become like a little mouthpiece thing. We just repeat, it's just like a soundbite. But we forget that, really and truly, there is massive, massive, massive impact in coming from the space. And I don't just mean in US dollars, although that is, of course, one of the great things about it. But there's massive impact coming. I was glancing through CPJ's latest results that I think came out today. They were saying they're up in profit, but they were saying that they are anticipating an unprecedented. I know I'm going from memory. I should just open the results and say, but they are anticipating an unprecedented rise in tourism locally, I believe. It was in the MDNA. And I was thinking about how true it is and how normal we take that nowadays. That there are hotels being built like crazy, which imply a whole heap of knock-on things, right? I mean, those hotels not going to stay empty. Those people that go there have to eat food. When they're there, they have to enjoy themselves. When they're not there, they have to go to there's things like Dolphin Cove, right? How many people you think visit Jamaica and get told on the tour bus that Jamaica have the best KFC in the world?
Most.
What percentage of them do you think stop and buy KFC, right? And then who sell KFC, right? JBG. When you think about like the fact that as much as we about this water better than that water, like the water in Jamaica is orders of magnitude better than water all over the world. Yeah. What do you think the water companies? Even 10%. Oh, that 10% thing really the key, Sir Phil. It surprised me too. The billion. Yeah, I like hearing the billion. I like hearing ambitious plans.
Yeah, man.
And I really like hearing that Guyana point. Wow, I don't think I've heard or read anything like that anywhere before. Yeah, big up this data for that. If you just join, you don't know what we're talking about, or if you're watching on YouTube, just skip back like maybe 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and you should hear that conversation. But yeah, going back to the CPJ point, that they're saying that they're preparing for the unprecedented expansion in the number of available hotel rooms, some of which are already in the advanced stages of development. So that's a company who is linked very much to the human side of tourism, meaning actual bodies that come into the country. Everything from the toilet tissue to the food they eat to the drinks. So they have
full experience.
The full experience. And they have a full view of what it means when if they're excited and them increasing them trucking fleet and them upgrading infrastructures, like the crowd coming. So them prepping. And I'm using
as much
that
as tourism gets a bad rap, it is Jamaica's rising tide.
Yeah. And well, of course the constant which is the money from foreign, which is funny because as we hear MFS is going into that, buying 100% of that company.
Yes, sir.
But then I realized that the man said that the smallest percentage he mentioned a while ago is 10.
Yes.
Every other percent was how much MFS is buying? 100%. Oh, we're in Ghana, it's hard to convince a man to give you,
51.
51, damn. Damn, that's a subsidiary. Damn.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
yeah.
So this wasn't a boring point at all, but it was a nice tangential point. In a set of results that didn't necessarily look that great, right? The profit was.
I know people see this on VIX.
Yeah, but
before this wasn't so hot either, was it?
It was mostly flat. It was 1.6 million US, which was the same as it was a year before.
Is it a cool off?
Roughly, yeah. You think so?
No. I mean, what we see. I mean, in terms of like profits, I was sure, but the company, not by a mile, bro. Well, not by a mile.
Don't take it light. The profit, the revenue is increasing, and even though the revenue is increasing, extra was at roughly 5 million US came in revenue.
Yes, sir. And I look at this as always. If it's not quote unquote good now, well, that's a good deal, right? If it's, I always find that point interesting. I think people look at that a bad thing. Boy, companies, it's a good company for the long and vex at the share price going down. No, like it shouldn't be vexed. If you really have a long-term view, like you are getting the deal you want. You're getting you're getting, if you really think somebody's selling this off, call them stupid, call them can't see 2 years down the line or 1 year from now. Exactly. Right? Like, oh, that idiot was sold to me? Thank you.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, the market becomes a whole lot easier when we realize that the person on the other side of the trade is not an idiot.
Exactly.
Stupid. Yeah, so selling is bad. And yeah, what a hell of a story though. See, a year ago was roughly like February
2022.
$20.31.
Yeah, so around half.
I know, yeah, it's about half. Yeah, the funny thing is, you go back before that.
And it was 3 times that. A year before this was a third of what it is now.
Yep.
Jaja.
It's so funny, that kind of perspective, because that looked terrible just now until you bring it out.
Yeah, the way to come from.
It's like a 50% drop, but then that's who know this story, buying from early 2021. Yeah, and some of Danhai's customers who know this story. Yeah, to them
we ate.
Yeah, to them $11 is a nice 3x, 4x, some of them maybe 5x, if they're skilled. If they're skilled, you can get a 5x out of it. But yeah, the market is wonderful, and this is a great example of the stock, if you will read in air. But tell me, think of another Rebirth story you might know.
Rebirth?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's a very interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, MFS was obviously one, and I'm very happy the stars aligned having him on. I've seen him on the timeline, and I see people pressure.
Phoenix company, born again twice. I think so, Christian.
Yeah. I want to make a comment, but I have to be more mature. I made a comment in the girl group. But yeah, it's a hell of a turnaround.
Key insurance.
This one look like it's actually stuck. Key insurance, good one. Yeah, you tell it.
Key insurance. Boy, it was going through it. Always in problems, regulator about on him back. Losses on top of losses on top of losses. And the company it was looking like, boy, either we shutting down or we getting bought out. And even a good amount of the market was a lot of no faith in key insurance. Remember that? This company, why would you buy that? It was really the company that, yo, this shouldn't be listed, all of that. And then GK shows why. Rebirth, the giant coming to the fold, give them some money, bring them back up. And the interesting point, key insurance is pretty thing there. And then look at the valuation now. $3 before when the problems was when $3 key insurance was rich at $3 one time.
Oh yeah.
PE is 10. So it was coming from the point. I mean, it was losses only, so I couldn't even take that at PE. It was why this company trading at $3. It should be. People are saying we really can't expect that this thing worth anything more than the assets that are there. And then no, it's still growing. Since GK has bought in, it hasn't stopped growing year on year. So yeah, proper Rebirth. As much as people don't really look at it right now, it's also something I watch very interestingly, especially because it's a part of the GK group. It is not an outlet for them whole. It's not an outlet for them whole insurance network. This is a piece of the pie that has to eat a certain level of food that they get into the business. And so the more GK grows, and it benefits across the whole GK group, no matter what.
Correct. And the insurance game,
exactly that. No, yes, you're saying exactly what I'm saying. The insurance game.
The insurance game benefits from scale.
Exactly.
Earning season listeners. Jesus, at this point, 4 years ago, we said it? 4 or 5 years ago. Before Key got bought out.
Before GK, we were talking about this as the thing to buy. Because, somebody should buy this.
Yeah. And somebody must buy it, and eventually
exactly.
Yeah, eventually it happened. They got bought, and GK as I said, insurance benefits from scale, and GK, of course, has an entire insurance, and they have grown and continue to grow, which means that the GK group, I suspect, is either benefiting from or will benefit from more scale. I don't know. In fact, off the top of my head, I don't know if how GK is insurance wise.
In fact, GK just said something
What's
about insurance. Can't remember. News article. I don't properly read it.
I know that the last big massive thing that we know about with them and insurance is that they bought all of Scotia insurance for the Eastern.
Oh man, said something recent. Actually, let me check my money. Thank God.
About insurance specifically?
I think so.
I think one thing that I've been wondering about with GK now is those funds. The funds
unit
that the unit trust that I think people have forgotten about that they're coming with. I actually think about them being the lead broker on the late 138 SL, and I think that I was thinking about go through his pack is not even my point. Big up Jerry who mentioned it because I hadn't said it out loud or anything yet, and I was thinking that
I wasn't even going to that. I was just thinking again that throws again into insurance. Because if GK takes a stake here, it only makes sense that it's property insurance that comes further into this. If GK throw a stake in there, then the only reasons to me that at some point, when 138 getting better, when whatever their expansion plans it's going to be real estate in my mind. So that's another thing that falls under the GK group as insurable money that will stay in them group. I make more profits for them.
Yeah. It's like it's continuity of income window. It might not look that way because it's very likely that they'll. But hold on. I mean, 138 is heavily Sagicor, no?
I've been wondering about that.
So Sagicor is the number one shareholder in 138 Student Living.
I think that might change.
That would be very, very, very interesting if that were to change. Oh, okay. Will they lose the number one spot? I don't know, but the level of dilution that's about to come
is
to
heavy.
them from.
So even one of GK, if Sagicor wasn't interested in going to a certain level, what GK is.
So like GK would, one of the reasons for APO, one of the good things is to bring in your
outside shareholder.
your outside shareholder. And oftentimes you don't want, as a majority shareholder, you don't want to face any dilution. So you screw the non-fundamentals. But in this case, if they, I don't know, because I'm thinking Sagicor might not want to lose that kind of business, right? Well, do they even have that kind of business?
They might just stay where they are.
Kind of business. Do they? Does Sagicor have that kind of business?
What do you mean?
The property insurance.
Yes. They used to have thing there. They do have thing there. They have Wi-Fi again. They have.
Is it AGI them?
AGIC, yes. AGIC is them.
Advantage General.
In fact, I know for a fact they do the thing. Yeah, man. They do thing there. Which is also, I think, an interesting point. I did mention it to you privately or something about that. But yeah, they the same thing there. They're Wi-Fi again. Remember, they're largely Wi-Fi health and life, and you know that somewhat has to be moved. So they bought into HIC, and that's where they pushed there. What do you call that now? Insurance.
The insurance. Sorry, I'm thinking about that reinsurance point, and I was trying to edit myself because I don't know how much I want. So one is along the lines of research. Two, but I think about that same point you said. You were wondering on GK and insurance. So if let's see, insurance at the head of IAJ, I believe, or was it? I remember the pick had Peter Levy on it, who is I think at BCIC, and the property insurance crisis from 2 months ago.
When I saw that article.
What were you thinking about it?
I was thinking about so I must admit I don't know a lot about insurance, but my understanding is that one of the issues was that seems to be happening is that a lot of the reinsurance is becoming a lot of reinsurance is big international companies from Germany, etc. And
Just sorry, not to lose everybody, it's cut just so people can understand it. And I'm reading from the article here so people can. Reinsurance is a practice whereby insurers transfer portions of their risk portfolios to other parties by some form of. That is the most complicated way to say it.
The insurance
for
guys
the
are
insurance
insured.
companies.
Reinsurance is.
It's a big ladder.
It's the big insurers who are taking on massive risk. And then think of the smaller insurance companies buying. They're being insured. So when you buy insurance on your car from, let's say, your insurance broker, that broker is actually
insuring your policy again.
It's being insured again by a bigger entity. And so you pay to your broker, and your broker pays part of what you pay over to them. Sometimes your broker pays all of what you pay over to them.
No, you pay to the broker pay to the insurance company local pay to an American guy, and then American guy pay to a thing like
European guy. Munich Re.
To Lloyd's, and then Lloyd's
what you're hearing now.
What
you're hearing now is that
reinsurance is getting more expensive.
And reinsurance also looking at a region kind of side eye. But that's a kind of not what I didn't get the perspective that it was the top reinsurers. It was the middleman for those guys that we pay over to. So GK scale matter more there.
Right.
That would explain
or anybody's scale.
That would explain why those companies, well, like GK and so would be scaling up. Yeah, because and there's opportunity there. If there's a crisis,
forward to seeing GK Re.
Exactly. Sorry, say that again, Phil.
Looking forward to hearing about GK Re.
Was GK Re?
Make GK Re RE.
What is that?
A company name. Up a reinsurance name for a GK reinsurance company.
Okay. Well, most reinsurance companies name Re, right? So you might not.
Man, we far out the mark there.
Too far out.
Yeah. So, but what about? So you're saying you're thinking GK could do that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw that Peter Levy article that I can't find.
I have it up on, at least I think I have it up on screen. It was a comment made by one of the Caribbean guys actually at the IAJ. I don't know what it is. I'm skimming the article, so I'm sorry if I'm not getting it all right. But the part I'm highlighting is the important part here, where he says specifically to Jamaica, you guys are in the headlight a little bit because your rates have not been adequate, and reinsurers have been pressuring for the last couple of years to push up rates. So simply put, the bigger heads outside charge $1,000 to insure a car. In Jamaica, nobody can afford to go to $1,000. Like our smaller guys, and I'm saying smaller here because not smaller in the context of Jamaica, but in the context of insurance, they know that that's not where the market in Jamaica is. Put another way, anybody who go foreign and know about foreign, like even just vehicle insurance in America, it is orders of magnitude more expensive than vehicle insurance in Jamaica. So the insurance rates generally in Jamaica have been low. But if the overall market is low, one player can't necessarily be charging 500,000 for the same thing that his competition is charging 100,000 for. So I mean, whoever does that loses a lot of the market. But the reality is that it's kind of that the rates kind of have to be at the 5,000, not the 1,000 where they are, and it hasn't really been fixed, and so a lot of the reinsurers are pulling out. But I'm saying all of that to say that it might actually be an opportunity. A crisis for one person is an opportunity for somebody else, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised if something like GK is in there. I mean, I'm going off even the small things. Look at the little banner in the background. Key Insurance is right there, which brings us back to the same point that I was saying. GK Insurance is also there, all within that group. I think there might be the opportunity for reinsurance to pop up there. In fact, don't they own a reinsurance? Who owns a reinsurance right now?
Yeah.
No, man, that listed company does. I want to say GK's, but
I think it's GK. What I don't want to say is either them or Guardian. I think it's GK. I think it's actually GK. It's Sagicor. I think it's actually GK. It's not Sagicor. Yeah, man. Hold on. What's up? We can check.
Yeah, and we should check. By the way, if you want to talk about another company, another stock, or whatever, send a speaking request.
Website, like I said, them have things over there.
And
Three finger tap,
send a
brother.
speaking
Three
request
finger tap.
in the
I
Mama
really
GA
just
app,
as in I open the stock exchange website and then I don't know where the hell I need to go because they're not going to where I need to, so
It can be difficult to find sometimes, but they're trying. They're trying.
can.
Give them a chance. Give them a chance. They might have improvements coming. By the way, that's something that should be mentioned. Let me pause. I mentioned that the JCSD portal. I think just as retail investors, that's something that we should all be aware of, especially in this time. So the
Yes, sir.
JSE did launch this week their JCSD portal. What can I tell you about this in a simple way? I mean, they tell you how to do it. Go to jcsdportal.jamstockx.com. I'll say that again, jcsdportal.jamstockx.com. If you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter or any other platforms in the future, you see it there for the screen, jsdportal.jamstockx.com. If you have a JTrader account, if you're with a broker that has a JTrader account, your JTrader info works here. And simply put, it can help you to verify some of the information about what you should know, about what should be in your account. Now, My Money GA helps you with that too, but I cannot. This is a good step from JSE. It helps people to verify a lot of the information. I think a couple of weeks ago when we had Chris Berry on, he mentioned that the functionality always existed, and this week the JSE launched this portal to make it easier to see it. You can set up your dividend mandates and you can do a lot of things. So I'd encourage people to actually go there and do that so you can know what's in your account. And if you are with a broker who is no longer able to trade, you probably want to go on and check to make sure that what you think is in your account is what's actually there, right? And to help complement you that, set up a My Money GA account, mymoneyga.com. Set up an account. It will help you very, very much. And if you have a premium account, you will very, very soon be able to check it on your app. Some of you already can, but the growth subscribers can, but more people will be able to check it on their app very, 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 very soon. Very, 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 very soon. I can't emphasize how much very the soon is. Can't overemphasize it. Anyway, Dana, you find the point yet?
Oh no, but there's a oh god, I lost a new point.
You're looking for the
something distract me just
or
now. No man, something hit me or something that needs to distract me away from it.
nuts for the re. I think that's the name out I'm looking
I think
for.
so as well. I'm looking at it right now, but there's something else. There's some. Oh yes, SSL.
Yeah.
People. So I spoke to a client today who has an SSL account, and the interesting part.
What's that?
And I don't think it's a money disappear situation. It's just an inconvenient situation. She goes on her day trader, and she no longer SSL thing there. Her SSL JCSD number. So if you have an SSL account, and you actually still see your when you go on JTrader, you still see the SSL represented there. If it's a thing unique to her, I think the JSE shouldn't take it off.
No,
I don't know
man.
if it's
I
a
think maybe
problem or whatever.
you missed some of the news. Maybe like me, you just
I know it's suspended, but
yeah, it was suspended,
but
and I think
then the person can't go on and just the person's wondering what's going on because them things that disappear in front of them. You get me? Just make it grey out. I can't use it, something like that. Instead, I can't know what's going on with the stocks there anymore. You get me? So that's a
well, there's this article.
That's a suggestion.
Well, I don't know if maybe they were or were not able to do that. I actually have an SSL account. I should check it. I'll check it when we get off stream.
Mind if I know something?
I will talk about it when I'm off here. But no, I had signed mine up way back in the day. I actually signed it up because I ran. And he, as I think he has tweeted, is true. At least I've not lost anything. So, but all I had there was stocks, and stocks hard to thief, and it's even harder if you pay attention to it.
Yes, sir.
And I do pay attention to it, so it's still there. At least I still own the stocks. So now, a point I should let people know: your stocks are yours, regardless of the broker. Your stocks are yours, so they can be moved around at will because they are yours. You only interface with the market through a broker, but the stocks are yours. So take this part with a grain of salt now. So I believe that even if you can't access it because maybe like me, you're a customer of that institution and it has been suspended at their request, I believe. I believe you may still be able to request that inter-member transfer. Is that what it's called?
Yes, I believe you can inter-member movement, inter-member transfer.
And
move the
move your
stocks to
shares
another place.
to another broker.
Yes.
Again, grain of salt on that because there's a whole process, and I don't know if maybe that's under I hold on thing now. I don't know the details of it. I am overwhelmed by that kind of news, so I don't really pay attention to it anymore. But the point that I started to say, based on what Danhai was just saying, is that this article from Dashan Hendricks that came out today, that it was SSL that requested the suspension of it, and it's being quoted as a prudent thing to do. Check the article out. I'll tweet it out and share it in the space, and you can take a look at it just to know more and follow Danhai's advice, as you hear him say. I can understand how that might be scary for somebody though. If
you hear always in the news, they don't know what's going on, but then they're not seeing the stocks online. So it was kind of a worry point for her. Yeah. And I can imagine most people seeing that kind of thing of what's going on with money.
Yeah. Important quote here from Dr. Street Forest from the JC saying that SSL got a directive from the FSC that every transaction that goes through the brokerage must be approved by them being the FSC. And trading online doesn't allow that because you are in control of it yourself. So as a result, I can see then it's either you're going to change the platform or you're going to disable that broker. So that they made the move to disable that broker. I understand that completely. Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah. No problem. Anybody who wants, remember to mute that or not. Anybody want to send a question, ask anything, talk about anything in the time while Danhai is gone? I don't want to give you guys dead air, and I don't want to blab on mindlessly. Sirfield, since you're there,
I found nuts for re.
Oh, sorry. From GK.
Yeah, nuts for the re is seems to be a Turks and Caicos company actually.
Yeah, and it's a
domiciled in Turks and Caicos, but
yeah,
it's a reinsurance company.
But I don't know how deep that reinsurance operation goes for them. Meaning, I don't know if it's like at the size or scale where you can take on everything or captive reinsurance or so. I don't know. It'll be good to find out. But I know that GK has a hell of a insurance arm. Heavy insurance arm. So that is something else. Sir Philip, you're on every week, so I should ask you, what's the most exciting thing you saw this week?
We die. Most exciting for the week.
Yeah, over Danhai killing what sounds like either like a spider or a roach.
Well, that thing sound like it's hard for them. Must be huge.
Yeah, right?
I mean, you mentioned what was the most exciting thing for me already, which is main event results.
Which results?
Main event results until
it was the most exciting in the background.
Until Dino. Yes, sir. Yes, you were. You and
what
were you killing? A spider?
A roach. No. Don't come in my yard.
So like
I had the door open, so I have to explain, but I'm right beside the bush.
So Sirfield was saying that the most interesting thing he saw this week was until what are you going to say? Until 1:38?
Until 1:38?
Oh no, so Dino came on. Okay, yeah, Dino actually said some very exciting things.
Dead.
Yeah. Some very exciting things outside of the roach killing that I carried out. But yeah, what about the main event results did you find interesting, Phil? Because I don't know if we actually spoke about that. We spoke about them coming back. They're an example of a phoenix company, if you will, rising from the ashes. But I don't know if you're where they are.
Ever really did, you know. I think they made best of a bad situation. Like they made the best. They were flexible. They all shut down the office to make sure the cost them so stay low, no physical location. We try to do as much business outside of we can't the party, but anything we do, anything going on, we're there. So I'm going, man.
And then did a phenomenal pivot.
We keep turn around.
Yeah, pivoting COVID
sure the company survive. Yeah, man, into and making sure the company stay alive.
Anything that again, broadcast meetings, any live broadcast meeting, then they were there to make sure that they do the setup for it and thing. Like, did they do a couple AGMs too, Phil? Something like that?
They did office. Yeah, they did a lot of office work. So like they would set up. And even at the, when we're starting emerging like little office parties, but office events. I don't know if they did listed company AGMs. I can't recall. But I know they did corporate meetings.
Well, I mean, I like that. I remember, I don't know if somebody said this. If somebody said it and giving you your praise, you can come on another week or this week and tell us that you're the one who said it. But I'm thinking about it. Was any other company affected more by COVID than them?
Boy.
I mean, the literal they do got locked down, right?
It was locked down, exactly.
The gathering of people. Yeah, literally couldn't.
That's what them do. That's what.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else would have gotten
not as hard as them, no.
Yeah, and to come out of it the way that they came out of it.
And this quarter, they said that they made most of their profit last year in the last 2 quarters.
Yeah, that was clear. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
123.8 million in the third quarter, 47 million in the fourth quarter, and a loss in the first quarter. That's not a light thing at all. I mean, the 47 million in the fourth quarter is like roughly half of their 2019, roughly a little less. It's 47 or 40. What am I looking at here? Yeah, it's almost roughly half of their 2019 profit figure, and they did that in 1 quarter, which to me looks like, a company that is really, really, really set on
and having a good year.
Yeah, and the first quarter in January 31st, so our next report coming.
Yes, sir.
Our next report coming in a month and a week, if not sooner. And what events did they have in Jamaica up to January? When was the Burner Boy thing? Last year or this year?
Last year.
Yeah, I was right there,
December.
man. That was great. That was December.
Nice. Oh, so that's the quarter that's about to be reported.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it wasn't Burner Boy alone. What else was it?
Everything, brother. Christmas did a ram, Christmas was the first Christmas post-COVID. Party
I remember
cheap like crazy. Everything.
Just posted something just before I was in Jamaica for the Burner Boy concert, among other things. And Justin posted a list of parties. There was something every day, and there were people tweeting that like him. It's a 20 event, and then people posting below and saying you forget this, that. So I mean, events like joke and over this Christmas.
Word.
Was the Rebel Salute in that quarter? I think so. Yeah, man. It was.
And then all of the New Year's events, all this stuff, all the way to the end of January. Whoa.
And some of the launch parties went on because they launched some of the carnival bands already.
The Danhai thing that
one there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So the launches were almost like parties themselves.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. Proper setup. It's a proper display house to come. and they're going part of what's to come. So
For sure.
them see it, man. Them see it. Money make. And the think about it. What was Carnival last year in 2022? What's going on there? And then we're going into a time when Carnival full force now.
Yeah.
Unbridled.
Things are keep and things now go stop keep. So these guys are gonna eat a big food. They're already eating a big food, brother.
Everything's
Before
fine.
now.
Remember, they also had the wedding arm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are married now, and that was also a big constraint thing there. The moment we free up, they were doing that business.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I was looking at
So-
them last year.
And the tourist, so
Anybody
that
looking at them,
aligns
shit.
well with the tourism business, right? Yeah,
Yes.
tourism. That's a line a lot of people talk about main event and tourism, because the wedding thing, Jamaica as a wedding nation is huge,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to become bigger as we are building 8,000 hotel rooms. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Also, look at things like Dream Weekend. In the capacity
bigger.
that it was kept when it was kept. What is going to be now? Full force, fully open. Main event eat again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also ramping up the not so spoken about business that them deal with, the screens.
Yeah.
We've seen this again. We've seen over the last year how much digital screen insert, how much what do you call it again, NOA, that they partner with, put advertising heavily, how much new digital screen locations them have, how much advertising business, and main event manages that. That's more money.
Yeah. In fact, I saw they did a launch of there's a related company, so it's not main event, but the same main
But they do
event
the management of it.
own it. No man, what's the name of that company?
iPrint.
iPrint did a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. I just remember that I didn't want to talk about that.
I started talking about it. I'm talking about it, sir.
So I didn't want to talk about that. I remember there's something that, because I'm looking at them, it look like they want a list, right? It looked like they want a list. To me, them look very listish.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that, okay, what's the thing you didn't want to talk about? I thought it was the main event SVL link, but I don't think that's anything. SVL owning 10% of main event, which and them having that thing with K-Manas, where actually, to your point, Phil, they've spoken about it from the perspective of tourism. That
Tourists
they want
being brought to Cayman as an event.
Races at Cayman as an event. Yeah. And of course we know main event handles the event best, just generally. And main event now being 10% owned by SVL. And Cayman as chairman being the CEO of main event.
Main event, correct.
And yet the thing that I never want to talk about wasn't even that. I thought it was that was the iPrint group thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the SVL thing is a big thing. SVL bougie, you know, bro.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I know. Wait, what do you think?
Phil, let go. No, but
I saw Gordon there.
What's that?
I saw pictures of Gordon there. Yeah, man, the thing there, the launch of
the Muted Mile.
The Muted Mile, yeah.
Oh, the Muted Mile. Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, they had to do more. That's proper event being kept there. It's no proper event space. So
Bridgerton vibes.
Yeah, man. And they also, as you have a big screen now, there's no right. They are doing digital screening. They're heavy now. Was it set up or is it to be set up?
I think it was set up. I remember reading about that with the K-Manas thing. I remember K-Manas itself. We were hoping that K-Manas would list, and it looked to me like it was going to be listed. They started to post their financials separately, and then they stopped. And you have to kind of dig into the SVL financials to work out what element of it is horse racing and how it is. But it's obviously a big business for them, and they've spoken openly. They being SVL, they've spoken openly about how they have managed to turn around in many ways K-Manas. And so K-Manas itself within SVL, I'm going to assume I wouldn't say maybe it was the weakest element, but they have turned around the operations of K-Manas. And I mean, we've been open about the fact that I hope that they list it. I hope that they spin it off. I think they'll spin it off, but I don't know for sure. It's not my decision. It's up to the SVL team, which is really the Mayberry team also. Sir Berry, big up Sir Berry and Sir Peart. And what they'll do there, and I hope that they spin it off. And if they spin it off, how likely is to get a piece? Yeah, it's going to eat no matter what.
Yes, sir.
But how likely is main event to get that piece? It's almost inevitable because the chairman of Caymanas is the CEO of main event. This is definitely one.
Just flow the value, definitely most likely.
I hear it, look at it, and I'm thinking I don't own enough. I don't own.
Me too.
I don't own enough.
I owe some. I don't know.
Main event or SVL,
I was actually thinking main event, not SVL. I don't own enough SVL either. But yeah, SVL is a bigger, much bigger player. Sometimes you get the smaller effect before you can get to the bigger effect. Main event
take longer for turn.
Yeah, it's funny, actually saw some main event, some not some of my main event, not all, but the vast majority of my main event earlier, well, late last year, and I ended up buying back in. I think I bought more. I might have even bought today. I don't know. I'd have to check, but yeah, this is definitely one of those brick rebirths that are actually happening in front of us. I think in a year we'll look back on it and go, if me didn't know.
Yeah, boy.
Of course, if you want to know for sure, link Danhai at D Hall Advisory. And he'll tell you what's best for your portfolio. If you want to learn to do what I do and what you hear us talk about doing, what at this point I've taught hundreds, if not thousands of people to do, is to invest practically, sensibly. It's not magic. It's not all heap of money. It's not any chopping. Thank God, it's a wonderful, legal, sensible thing that anybody that have sense can do, and you have an advantage if you're Jamaican because you understand Jamaica better. You want to learn how to do all of that? everymickle.com/grower, and I will teach you. And take it from me, the person whose course it is, and I'm biased. It's the best course around. And take it from anybody else. Check the tweets. Right? People tweet about it all the time. I'm so happy when I see people talk about it. People praise it. I don't know how to take praise, but at this point, years into it, I have to admit that I've built something that's pretty damn good, and I'm proud of that. And I'm happy for everybody I've helped with it, and that they continue to help other people too. So, I mean, the rum nice and everybody can pay for it. That's what I always say. Yeah. So.
And I've paid for a lot of rum from the teachings, so I can't make that a bit of a listener. I've paid for a lot of things from it. I mean, I said it already. I keep saying it because it keeps hitting me. I pay school fee from it, and not my school fee. That's the biggest part to me. I waste my mother money at school. No, I come around and help her. I pay other people's school fee. That's crazy to me, brother.
It's crazy if you couldn't pay it.
That's the thing. I couldn't go think that when again. I couldn't go to school abroad because I got a half scholarship and I really couldn't afford the half. It was too much money. My little brother gone abroad, brighter you than me, better the school thing by far. And think that he way more focused, diligent student, all that. But sometimes the money kind of down in terms of because the expenses that I think, and sometimes the scholarship not really cover because they're very up and down with it. And the market has been paying for over a year now. Anywhere the scholarship fall down, that's where the money go. I know I haven't even said this much. My cousin is going to school now. She went to high school, and the market is paying for her going to her nursing degree right now.
Word.
That is a crazy idea to me because I never see myself as like you always say when you're young, man, most make money on more money, but you see it. I mean, you've spoken about that in a lot of ways how your family has benefited from what you've done on the market.
Yeah,
mind blown.
I've also benefited. Yeah,
that too. I don't. But I think it's easy to talk about that where they've benefited in some ways. Just the kind of return that you get on that. That's trust me. The market there, things can happen from it. Just
do it.
Bro, I will show you how. Do it.
Yeah, I said to people all the time. Also, I realize people have this thinking. They almost think of as a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people tell me all the time, boy, I won't call the person name, but I know the person is listed. They're telling me a story about how, last year, how things are kind of rocky and then they have to end up have to eat out of them portfolio because them end up spending it off and handle
That's the
this and that
point.
and that. And I'm saying, yo, imagine if you never have the portfolio to cover it. That is the point. The point of the money is to spend it. It's there. The point of investing is to help you to do whatever you need to do or want to do in the way you want to do it. It's not to say, oh, I have the biggest portfolio. Unless you want to do that, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But the situations that we're going to face in life, we're going to face them no matter what. Might as well you face them with more money.
I remember I had a client, like he booked before, but in the time he was waiting for the session to happen, because I booked 2 months before. That's typical when clients book 2 months before. In the time he was waiting for the session to happen, he lost his job.
Ooh.
And the portfolio was doing enough for him, and he just like initial goal, whatever. Like he lost the job, he was looking at another job, thought he was getting it, and it was going to work out. Initial goal reach, and thus the profits from that money, like he was paying for things. It wasn't like him regular normal. He has a lot of responsibility in his family, and the portfolio pay for it in the interim to get a new job and get money now and can push more money back into the portfolio. And that was that. The portfolio was doing it for him. That's what the money did it for. I know a lot of people, but I tell you, people sell when they're in a bad spot, and like they want to apologize to me. Yeah, and I know I couldn't get full car. I'm sell. I'm like, that's the point. That's why I'm doing this. It's not so the money is there for. It's not to fancy and say, boy, about the money in the market. The money real. The money is supposed to spend when it's supposed to spend. That's why you invest. I mean, nobody tell you about, boy, never sell whole for 10 years. I thought if that's what works for you and your pocket, sure. But not everybody that.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that 5 years in. You need to draw the money. Good thing you're investing. Because you can start draw the money. You have something you can pull from. We all know a lot of people because they're not doing it. When the time comes, rough. So if you have the ability to, definitely push into it. And more than likely you have, if just think about it, it doesn't have to be to the level that you want to start somewhere.
Yeah. If you have more than the cheapest stock on the market is cents.
It's cents.
CENTS.
Exactly.
So if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, enough money to start investing. If you think you don't, or you think you don't, if you don't ready for that yet, or you don't have the money, or you just want to get your feet wet, mymoneyja.com, sign up for a free account and put in the pretend trade them.
Yep.
Right? Create a portfolio and try to see what happens. Test yourself. It's a way for you to actually test yourself.
Start learn. Hit the ground running. When you have the money in hand and start, so all the thing work before you start.
Exactly. The risk is little to nothing, right? No risk, because it's not like you're putting money in.
It's not like you're putting money up.
You're just creating a portfolio, and you're saying, let me pretend we have $1 million, and then buy the stocks that you think your $1 million
and you never lose if all you do is learn.
Yeah, man. Exactly. If you get it wrong, you've learned. If you get it right, you've learned. Yeah. So check it out. I won't have us go too late tonight, since I look like everybody's shy tonight, or Sir Dino hit them with the 10 billion talk and everybody go and drink and talk about it.
I said they're very full.
Yeah, if anybody wants to talk about anything else, this is your last chance. Send a speaking request. I know I have to wait like 30 seconds for people to hear that because of the lag, but I will wait and we'll talk about whatever you want to send a speaking request and we'll discuss it. Otherwise, we will say good night.
So Cliff come back on.
So Cliff, I can't actually see him. Cliff have to send a speaking request.
Well, Cliff, they want to talk to Dino.
Or maybe let's see what they want to say.
Maybe we can answer. Cliff, go on. Jump on,
Cliff. Send a speaking request and we'll do it. Or anybody else. And speaking of the Dino thing, I think one of the things that I really liked hearing was him talking, how open is and talk about listening. Same listen to him shareholders, and I like that. That's impressive. You don't hear a lot of companies saying that. If you actually pay attention to the actual words that a lot of the corporate heads and leadership teams put out, they talk about caring about the shareholders. They talk about doing the best for them. They talk about doing the stuff in the best interest, but very few of them talk about actually listening to their shareholders. And his response to that question was, I listen to my shareholders. I find that to be very, very impressive. I hope that that's where the market is turning to now. And it is a trait that Malcolm also, when I asked him about the logo, he said that he listened to his board member, marketing skills, was what he's good at, how to find the people that's good at things he's not good at, and to listen to them, which is a skill that we all need to learn, myself included. So, big him up for that. Sir Cliff.
Yeah, man. Good night, guys.
Night.
And boy, I really wanted to ask Dino the question, but I think based on what he responded to another question, I was pretty much satisfied.
Okay. What did you want to ask him? Question that him can't answer?
I think he would have been able to answer, but he made an interesting tweet earlier this week. And it's just interesting because a few days after he tweeted APO or rights issue, we see an APO announcement come out. So that was interesting.
I say instructive.
Well, let's hear
what you do with him again.
let's hear the question that you'd have asked.
My question would have been to get his personal views, because I know he wouldn't have been able to speak definitively for the listed company, but to find out his views around the same tweet that he made, whether APO. Exactly. So that's why I say it was answered to some extent. Because for a CEO to tell me that he listens to his shareholders, then I'm sure if he look under that same tweet, he would have seen
See what
his shareholders are saying.
I'm looking at that tweet now, the responses to it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You guys mob the gentleman. Only a right issue is acceptable unless you don't care about us retail investors and the share prices. I might give you wrong. Second fund meme account. Investor meme account behind the great stunks. MD Enterprises, obvious choices are renowned for the rights issue. Damn. The brick cutter himself, Spielberg Invest. This is what happens when APOs are announced. Don't let any broker or anyone tell you otherwise. And what's it?
Wait there.
Oh my. People, you know, I'm happy about this. Let me explain something to you.
Question.
These are all human beings that I'm reading what they wrote. Company is like a human being, not a human being. Companies don't give a damn about you unless they're your company. So I am the thing that has been from the investment conversation for the years, all of my life in Jamaica, has been the voice of the retail.
Yes,
so I am proud when I see this. I am happy when I see the retail talking like this, because it wasn't there before. Maybe that's why no company speaks about listening to their shareholders.
Oh, of course. Of course not. Because if they listen, then they might have to do something.
Wow.
They might end up having to do something that's in the best interest of all shareholders. Imagine.
Yeah. Without asking them.
Yes, sir.
It's funny. Think about it, Danhai. We have heard companies say in the past, like they made an XYZ move, or they chose to go another way because their shareholders couldn't supply rare. And I thought, wait, I'm a shareholder.
Oh, you know that. You never asked
Nobody
me that.
asked me. You never asked. Yes. Well, yeah, so it's refreshing to hear a CEO speak about listening to his shareholders and acting that way. I won't even be coy about this rights issue. Renounceable rights issue. Rights issue all the way. It must be a rights issue. My God. What's the objective? Well, there's one in every crowd. So I'm happy that the retail has found its voice and is talking, and let's continue to this.
Pay keen attention to who is listening. And
yes.
Not.
Yes. Keen attention, because that's what will affect your money. Yep. I am happy that the retail
I remember a tweet the other day about if a CEO were to tell you that he doesn't care about his stock price. That is another. If somebody tell you they don't care about the stock price, all right. Daddy? So watch who listens and watch who does not.
Yeah.
You know where you are welcome.
Yeah. So, sir, well, you say it, right?
I feel satisfied with the answer, you know.
Okay, you feel satisfied with the answer. All right, that's
Yes,
good.
man.
That's
Because
good. That's
as
good.
you say, it's rare that you hear a CEO say he listens to his shareholders. The time we hear people talk about outside shareholders, which you don't know if that really existing.
You see, you know, see them ownership, but then some operating as if they do, right?
Yeah, and you know,
Listen,
exactly,
they get listen to people who don't hear listening to us.
exactly. So
Yeah.
after hearing Dina tonight, I feel bad not buying enough MFS below $3.
Well, it's on sale, you
Well,
know,
I tell you,
above
It's
three
on
I
sale.
dollars.
might have to buy. I'm going to have to buy the bullet and buy some more because 10 billion in 3 years,
He hopes. He said
10%.
10% of his plans work out. If 10% of his plans work out, he figures it will be. Is 10 billion a month or 3 billion?
10
in
billion.
3.
10.
10
Jaja.
billion in 3
Can't
years.
afford the
10
ambition.
in
And he said,
3,
of course, that's
imagine.
a hope. He wasn't promising officially. Don't tie the company to that, but that's a hope based on the
Yeah.
plans. That was a great conversation. Thank you very much again, Dino. And thank you to everybody who asked questions.
Yes, man.
From the useful ones like Alexa's to the troublesome ones like Piggles. Yeah. Hey, and Piggles, big up Piggles for that question, because Piggles' question, I think, also allowed us to hear enough without running out. Right. So, Sir Cliff, you have the pleasure of being the last person to talk since nobody else sent a speaker request. What was one thing you found exciting on the market? And those outside of 138 and MFS, was one thing you're excited about on the market before we go? Let's close on a nice note.
Wow.
What's the phoenix that you expect to rise from? Not necessarily ashes, but what thing that you're most excited about this year outside of those two?
Well, for this year, most money is on MFS, you know.
Well, I say you can't say MFS. You have to pick something else.
Let me see.
You think about that. One of the methods I like to do is I like to think about. Well, one of the easy ways I do, like when I'm under pressure like this on Big Talk, I bring up my money J and I just look at all the companies that I think about. I know about all of them and which one I want to talk about. But if I'm thinking about my money, I often think about, let's say, a year from now, what will be what would have happened in the monetary space in Jamaica. I don't mean the finance space. I mean, like, what will be hot a year from now? What is something that you look back a year from now, you're like, oh, dog, it's obvious that this thing would have brought in the money it did or the profits it did. You know, like looking back, think back a year ago, February a year ago, it would have kind of been obvious that oil would not stay low.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the pandemic was that was near the end of the pandemic. People are going out. Forget the Putin effect.
Yeah.
People are just outside again. So once you're outside again, you're naturally going to spend more money, right? So looking backwards, it's obvious. Like, of course, oil would have gone up. Of course, all the oil countries that make money from oil that would have taken a beating during COVID would kind of hike prices and cut production to make oil go higher. And then it then becomes a natural. Well, obviously, the only gas company on the exchange would benefit from that from a profit basis, right? It's easy back. So I just did that. I'm thinking January or February 2024. What am I looking back and saying? It's obvious.
But now that you mention it, I'm thinking about RPL. Yeah.
What's the obvious thing that everybody knows, say, a year from now with RPL?
Well, I mean, they're already heavily into LG, which they're another big player on the market, telling us that they're getting into that space. So obviously there is something there. Plus, RPL is telling us that they're going into the petrol not distribution, but retail space as well. So they're looking to build out gas station and so forth. So I think maybe
they have a gas station, right?
Yeah, well, they have one and they're building one now, right? one of the purpose of the
or half of
IPO.
a gas station,
Yeah.
one could say.
So maybe a few years from now we might see more gas stations under that brand.
I could see that. I could see me looking back a year from now, talking to Dan and Brick Talk and saying it's obvious. I mean, they told us that's what they wanted part of the money for in the IPO, right? So it's kind of obvious that at least all right. This is Randy 2024. It's obvious that the gas station would have finished and they would have started a second one. It's obvious that when they finish the gas station, they would have had good pricing. It's obvious that they would have had cheap pricing because part of the business is also the wholesaling of the fuel. So they carry fuel to other stations. So it's obvious that they would have had the cheapest prices because they can cut their margin on that. It's obvious that the cooking gas industry would continue to grow. And I have to throw like a moonshot in there. It might not be obvious, no, but I think that we are going to, maybe not in a year, but maybe in a few years, alternative energy, renewable energy might be a lot more. We don't think renewable energy now. We think Wigton, which is wind, for now at least. I think there might be that microturbine. But that was the interesting thing for me. That's the thing that I remembered that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the Wigton and the land. Yeah. I tweeted about it to my circle, and then I didn't do it. I have chill session with the Grow grads tomorrow, so maybe I won't say it here. Maybe we'll talk about that there. A little bit of research, but let's say it wasn't weird to me that they bought that little piece of land out by ferry there. So, but let me finish the RPL point. I just think that maybe there might be more cases of either LPG, which they are strong in, happening, and being a growth area, a strong growth area for them. I think that's actually what carries the belly of the business, if you will. And I think maybe there'll be opportunities for other products that maybe use LPG or LNG becoming more popular in Jamaica. Outside of the cooking, right? I mean, water heater, maybe somebody have a LPG powered AC, who knows? I don't know. I'm talking off the top of my head here. But I say all that to say that I don't think your pick is necessarily bad. Sir Cliff, RPL might actually be one of those obvious things a year from now. I can see us looking back a year from now and going, boy, I wish I did buy exactly what you just said. I wish I'd bought more below 3, and it's currently at 190, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows?
I don't know. Let's see how long it continues to remain at that price.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a very, very interesting year because I don't think the company has been bad at all. I think it's maybe just overlooked timing, or maybe IPO
or APO
drunk.
They look at, hey.
He actually said it in, and let's not forget that.
He did say that, but I
hope he now listens to his shareholders.
I hope he don't listen to his brokers.
Yeah. It's a Cliff. Same crew.
Boy, I tell you. That is interesting. And then
it is interesting, right? It's actually the first thing I thought of when I saw that notice from one
PM. Yeah. Then we hear of more APOs to come.
No, that they have the same broker.
I know, and the broker is telling us.
Oh, okay. I know. I wasn't going that far.
Yeah. I did not think about that. Damn. But they might also be rights issue, huh?
That's true.
There might be some love, some shareholder love going to go around.
Yeah. Well, I like that the market is speaking with its voice and and with its pocket now. May the retail space continue to grow. I hope
the pocket is the voice of the market.
I like that. Write that down.
In interest.
Somebody quote me that on that 2 years from now.
Danhai Hall. The pocket is the voice of the market. That bad.
To go off on a tangent.
And the market. Sorry, Cliff.
I just wanted to go off on a tangent a little because, as you mentioned, retail and the strength of the retail. Not in a derogatory way, but that court case, I think, was in the CCJ?
PWJ.
Yeah.
You mean the Court of Appeal?
The court, right?
CCJ. Caribbean Court of Justice.
Well, it's outside of Jamaica, so I don't know, but I'm thinking, like, how much strength you think that will give to retail shareholders in terms of, you know, we having so.
The thing about the law, it gives us a strength already.
Yeah.
It's also us to exercise it.
All right.
Yeah.
It then comes down to a case of. So the thing about it, though, the specific thing I see about it is that there has to be a disagreement along the lines of minority and majority shareholders.
Mhm.
So
there has to be an interest. There has to be benefit to the majority shareholder.
asymmetric benefit for the one, for the person. If the majority shareholder is pushing it, then they have to benefit in a way that the minority does not also benefit. So those are lines that's go. It's not just this thing, me, Vex, as Danhai, and everybody else in the room as boy, yes, let's put the nooses around our neck. Then boy, then it won't rest like that so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a massive thing, you know.
Big
Because let's say I don't like to do the fake company thing. I think that's
Me
a
neither
cop
at
out.
all.
I think it's stupid. But in this
Yeah.
case, I will do a fake company thing, or I'll use overseas companies. Let's say that what does Apple own that? Let's say that Disney, and what does Disney own? I mean, they kind of own everything, right?
I was going to say something wrong. Sorry, though.
Not anymore.
Damn.
Oh Lord. All right, so let's say that Disney the parks, which is owned by Disney, the massive corporation, right? Let's pretend that that's a subsidiary. Let's say that Disney, the subsidiary, wants to do let's say they choose to do an APO, and what they're doing in the APO is they're bringing in Disney, the massive corporation, right? In a way that dilutes everybody else, all the other shareholders. Under this thing here, this ruling, what the interpretation we're seeing here, it would say that the voting on whether or not that APO could happen, Disney, the park company, who would be the majority shareholder in that, could not vote.
You have to sit this one out, bro.
Yeah, they have to sit it out because their parent company, aka part of the group that they are in, stands to benefit from the doing of this thing. This is a massive. This has massive implications for the future. I don't just mean for 1 year or 2 years. It has massive implications for the future, and it's really for the first person to sue another company about it. And I think we're gonna get more litigious as we go along.
We already are. We're getting.
And I like that. I like that some things are being questioned, and they should be questioned more. It's part of the maturity of a society for that to happen. The court should decide certain things. I'm really happy about this. And this specific article that you're referencing, I like how it ended. The gentleman who sued them, he was quoted in it saying, "I hope other shareholders in Jamaica will be heartened by this result, and that shareholders will begin to take a more active role in ensuring that publicly traded companies begin to improve their corporate governance, and that shareholders also begin to demand that directors and officers of their companies understand where their very real and serious fiduciary obligation lies." That is an amazing quote. I wish it came from inside Jamaica, but it don't matter where it come from. It helps us, it benefits us. And yeah, I'm happy for that. The real and serious fiduciary obligation that the officers and directors of listed companies have is to us, the shareholders. They should be listening to us. So let's have more of that in the future. Thank you very, very much for that point.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Big up. And thank you everybody who joined us this evening. Then I have anything you want to tell the people before I say good night?
Nothing but good night. Big up, people. Again, as always, start investing if you haven't started yet. Keep investing. There's more to come. Trust me, don't lose at all from this game. Just keep investing. Trust me. And if you want help with that, RTO is right there. I am right here, dhalladvisor.com, or jump over to Grow if you want to learn. And trust me, the best bet I can think is to mix them. The Grow come across to get a discount either way from me or him. We get discounts to each other and big up people again. Enjoy the weekend. Look out for more. And look out for I guess I'll go for next week, but I won't be here next week. So
yeah, then I'm skipping next week. Yeah, he's taking a break, and I might actually skip next week too. So who knows? You might